o'clock. So we will stand for our opening prayer by Jeremy Matlock from Hillsborough Mennonite Brethren Church in Hillsborough, and then we'll remain standing for the flag salute.
Dear God, we're so thankful for your love for us, and that you have counted every hair on our heads, which shows how much you care about us, and ultimately gave your Son, Jesus, to die for us. And so we thank you that you care even about the little things in our lives, and that you are here, and we pray that you will guide this meeting and help our county to always be doing better. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. That was a little bit of a rush. She's so cute. Okay, Tina. May Day.
Okay. Did you want to do the term sheet review at the beginning of the meeting or at the end of the meeting?
You recommended that probably it would be good to do it during the administrative. So I'm fine with that since it's part of administrative,
Okay.
part of payday.
Okay.
So we'll take a little bit of time to do that in executive session.
Okay. There's a motion there at the top. That would be appropriate.
Okay. You went, oh, now. Okay, before we do anything else. Okay, so we'll go into executive session. This is the week that we do looking at our timesheets. So I will move that.
First, I have the sales tax that was in your packets. The regular sales tax was $65,234.39, and the jail sales tax $56,510.98. If anybody needs to see, I have paper. Purchasing card report was in your packet. And then the grand total payday figure is $1,401,827.92. And that includes payroll at 502-452.34.
Just one comment on the credit card report. I know there's probably a few items that can't be purchased locally, but I'd encourage our department heads to buy locally whenever we can.
Which one are you referring to specifically on there? Or are you just talking in general?
Just in general, you know, looking through, you know, some, and I can't tell what the purchases are for sure, but you know, small items, if we can get them locally, I'd prefer that. Noticed there was one on Amazon. So.
Usually though Amazon appears quite frequently.
Yeah, and you know, I know some things we just can't find locally, wherever we can. I mean, countywide, not just local.
Mhm.
Maybe it's a good time to reiterate that, because I don't know when the last time we put a memo out to our department heads to do that, Ken.
That's what I was just gonna ask if you want,
Yeah.
I just
do you
think,
want me to
just
send
a
an
reminder.
email to them all, just that the board wants to remind them, or do you want an official memo that you all want to sign? What would you prefer?
Either.
I'd say a reminder, because,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, there's some times that we just cannot get it.
Correct.
Okay. Does everyone agree to send an
Yes,
email?
yes.
Okay.
So there's two of them in here, unless I'm on the wrong page.
Yes, the one has got Brad's signature on it.
That's
So if
fine.
you want to sign that one, that'd be great.
Okay, that's
And
the one
that's
I
all.
signed, okay.
Okay.
No. Sure there's not.
Okay.
Is this still, are you administrative staff?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I have the minutes of May 21st.
Make a motion to approve the May 21st minutes.
Second.
I would like to point out that there was a discussion that was missed on the meeting. You have under Road and Bridge most everything that we covered, but I don't see that you had anything on here where we had the discussion about the 1 mile verdict road with Morris County was not mentioned on here, and even though it's on, today you have data, and the thing I was wondering if we could go ahead and just add that, since that was a pretty detailed, well, the discussion. I mean, it's not all that important, but we did discuss it. You have all those bullet points of discussions that we had
Right.
on different road projects.
Right.
And that was just one that was omitted.
Okay.
Anybody have a problem with adding that to it?
I'll rescind my motion then.
Second.
Okay. Okay.
I'd make a motion to accept the May 21st.
Would it be okay if I go ahead and make a correction and then let you look at it and then, is that okay?
That would be better, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see if I can. Okay to do that right now?
Go ahead.
Okay.
We have plenty of time this morning, especially the first part. Plenty of time. We have plenty of time this morning.
Once you go, you got plenty of time.
Bullet point there where I was just talking about the other items for discussion.
Okay, I see it, yes. Okay, so with that, do I have a motion then to, oh, you want to read what she wrote?
I was going to say I could read it out, or if you wanted to read
Yeah, I
it.
just want to read it out, so go
Okay,
ahead.
so what she added was, other topics discussed were safety meetings, crack sealing on 330th Winrose, and chip seals of 340th near verdict. So that does pretty much cover it. So with that, do I have a motion then to accept the minutes as written?
So moved.
As corrected.
As corrected.
Okay.
I'd second that.
Got a, okay, so got a motion by Kent and a second by Randy. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, I have some change orders.
We'll divide that. There's just a few in each section here. There you go.
Do you have a salary sheet? Excuse me.
And we have a salary sheet here for Bridget Melza. Is that how you say that?
I have no idea.
We're gonna run with that.
Sorry.
$12 an hour. part-time 911 system operator effective 5/25/2018.
I haven't met her yet, so I don't know.
I'm sure I messed that up, but this is what it looks like.
I did give you a new executive session form today. I had some additional open meeting training at my clerk's conference earlier this month. And there are just a couple little tweaks that I made to your form. The Attorney General their office is now recommending that we say, I move that we recess into executive session, and they want that wording. And so that's the main thing I changed on here. And then just a reminder, when you are going into executive session, please read you need to state the topic, please read the justification with the KSA and including the number part. So 75-43-19B and then 1 if it's for personnel, etc. So just a real minor tweak just to make sure that we're staying in compliance. So replace your old form. And the North Central Kansas Library System, you may recall a few weeks ago had asked, there was a change to how that board is appointed, and now that falls to the Board of County Commissioners. And you had asked them to seek potential candidates. And they do have an individual that has applied and is being recommended for appointment to the board. And it's Diane Glazer. She lives in Catlin Township. She's a former teacher, and so they are recommending that she be appointed to the North Central Kansas Library System Board.
Okay. So, so the board as the whole would make that appointment, right? Just to approve their appointment.
Yes, so you would do it, if you all agree to do that, it would be by motion and vote of the board to appoint her to that.
Okay. Do I have a motion to go ahead and approve the appointment of Diane Glazer?
I would make that motion.
Would you go ahead and state the motion, please? Because I'm going to write it exactly how you say it. So can you hand that to him so he can have the right?
I make the motion to appoint Diane Glazer to the North Central Kansas Library Board.
Second?
I have a motion by Randy, second by Kent. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. By you writing the motions as they are said, will shorten a lot of motions, hopefully.
Okay, well, I don't want to, it's nice if I can help you be clear, but I don't want to put words in your mouth either, so, okay. The only other thing that I have is I will need a short executive session for personnel performance, and it can be at the end of the meeting, just as long as we get it in, so, okay?
Okay. That's fine. Okay, so, oh, I'm sorry. That she said that, you said that's all you had, right?
Yeah, that's all I have,
Okay.
yes.
So then we have a little extra time on the agenda, and I had a couple things I was going to bring up, but obviously Randy has something, so I'll let you go first.
Just in the packet here, 207 Vine and Peabody.
Oh, no.
Yeah, weed mowing and stuff. That house needs to be torn down anyway, but we haven't got to it yet. But we need to get the weeds mowed too. I mean, that's...
I'm glad you brought that up, and I probably should have that. We now have 7 more properties in the city of Peabody through the tax sale. And the city's already contacted me. They contacted me like yesterday, because we also have properties other places. And so the board, until we dispose of those properties or form a land bank or whatever we're going to do, we are going to need to make sure that the properties are mowed. And so I don't know if in the past, there's been a time where we've gone out and we've we put that out for bids with the properties and, now the city, we didn't do that last year, and the city mowed it a couple of times and we paid them. And, but anyway, the city, I talked with them, and, the district court person there was potentially gonna go to the city council to see if we could come up with some sort of arrangement where if we want the city to mow it, they can do it at a lower amount or something. So, to see if they have some sort of an idea of how to work together. So, anyway, we do need to, that's gonna be a big issue, and probably not just in Peabody, there may be some other areas that we're gonna have to consider. And something else to be thinking about, what are you gonna do with those properties? The majority of them are probably not going to be rehabbed. I mean, and they probably do need to be torn down. And if there's a way that the county could, I'm actually looking into some grants to see if we have a group, if we can demolish and potentially apply for a grant to help with that, or potentially pilot money from the wind farm, if that is something to come. Maybe something could be done to help clean up some of the properties in the county that are abandoned, because that doesn't look, I mean, it's a big concern for our county and for the cities, so.
What for the other cities and counties, because it's all over, and not just in this county, what do they do? Do you know?
There's counties, some counties have land banks. Majority of the time, though, you're probably not gonna interest just anybody in a house that really probably should be torn down. There are maybe a few, right. There are probably a few people that would go in and try to rehab that if they had the availability to just go and have it. But some have land banks, some, I think it's a problem everywhere, like you said. But I know that there are some grant monies. I mean, we applied for the CDBG grant for the Florida. Of course, we weren't awarded, but we're looking into that again. And if we could have a group of properties, like multiple, and it's a bigger project, we have more likelihood of having some grant funding, but the county would still have to pay something. Or match it with, potentially with labor.
Can we find out potentially how many of those type of properties that are beyond repair that we could group together?
I think so, yeah. I mean, the first thing is just to see what we ended up with.
Yeah.
And go from there. But in city of Peabody particularly, we're going to have to address that mowing issue.
It's right now, I mean, it's.
I'm sure it's all.
Yeah.
Well, would the city be agreeable to work with us to mow those properties?
Their council hasn't discussed it yet. I believe that the person was going to take it to the council and
If we
see
put
what.
if we put it out on bids, we could have one entity take care of all of them, I guess, depending on how much that's gonna cost.
I think you would do it by city if we have others in another city that you.
Oh, you would bid it
Yeah,
by city?
I think so most of the times, because somebody that wants to mow in Peabody may not want to mow or be available to mow in another area.
I'm just thinking if it's a company that does mowing, they may want to bid on a whole county thing.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've seen it in the paper, the city of Peabody's charging so much per hour, or so much, I don't know.
They charge $200.
$200, okay.
An hour?
No, it's maybe just for the property.
That's what they charged us. I don't know if they charge.
Okay.
That would be per property?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be per hour, would it?
Either way,
I'm
it
not
would be
sure
high.
if they're
Either
doing
way,
a
that would be
flat
lot.
fee or if they're doing it by the hour, but what they charged us was $200. That's all I can speak to because I don't know their policy or what
I
they're.
mean,
how
I
they're
think we
doing
could
it.
get it contracted out for something less than that.
But we were getting it mowed when we were mowing it for a reasonable price. But that first time, I mean, now it's really up there. And I know Randy mowed it a couple of times that first year.
Yeah.
That one property that we've had a couple of years.
It starts to become a hazard.
Yeah, I got a tractor
And then
and
we've
bush
got
hog, knock
liability
it down,
issues.
but it's just the idea, it gets right back up there if we get a wet season. And-
But I would think that there would be a little bit of rhyme and reason behind that. Because if they set the mowing prices so high, I think the object would be to get rid of the property. If they're abandoned and in deplorable condition.
Right, but
So-
as you're planning what the strategy is for that, whether the
Right.
county's gonna demolish them to help the cities and we can turn over a vacant lot, or whether the county's going to establish a land bank, or whatever the county plans to do, or try to sell them individually, we still have to mow in the meantime.
I understand that, I'm
Yeah.
just saying ultimately. I'd
Yes.
kind of like to learn a little bit more about land banks, and I'm just wondering, I know we had talked about here about a land bank in the county, but I'm wondering, and I'm just wondering, the city of Marion already has a land bank. If we don't really want those properties or anything like that, what would be the issue, or what would be all the ins and outs of cooperating with them? Or however that would work, I don't know. But I mean,
Brad has been working on some information for all of you about land banks, and I think that would be a good thing to actually place on an agenda and discuss at length, and he should be able to give you some information on that and answer those kind of questions.
The difference I see in it so far would be that since we're the county, that we could hand it to work with any one of the cities that we have the property in, if that's the way we wanted to go. You know, so that's just something that I see, that the county could maybe transfer these properties a little easier, but there's some in these 7, or you say 7? Is that what you said?
Well, that's what the city person told me when they called, but I haven't really looked at
Okay.
the
But the
list
city
in detail.
isn't gonna want a property with a unrepairable dwelling on it. They want a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
In some cases,
And then
probably in most cases.
Some of these lots, some of these places, at least 2 of them down there is in a flood area, and they are, even after it's down, nobody wants the lots, except for maybe a neighbor. There may be a neighbor down there that may want them. It's a situation that's ugly. I mean,
But nobody's gonna move until they got a bare piece of ground sitting there.
and then
My
at the
God.
same time, we've got the school that we need to get rid of, that property over there. That's another one that we need to
That's
get rid of.
another thing that I've been working with Mr. Jans on, and we had another individual that same individual that was interested in that barn is still interested in it.
Okay.
So that'll be on the,
Coming up.
that'll be a point of discussion when Mr. Jans is back.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to catch everybody up on that. I think not only Peabody, I imagine if we have one in Florence, or if we have one in Tampa, or wherever we have property at, is unless somebody's been a good neighbor and just went over and mowed it, why, this probably needs to be mowed. Somebody made the comment to me, well, if you're gonna pay $200 a lot, I'm interested.
Yeah, well, the county shouldn't be paying $200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
When you
this
said
time of
that-
year, it's hard to break county employees loose to go do
Yes.
something like
well,
that.
it may be reasonable to send them down there to do that.
So what I will do is I will keep in communication with the city, see if they're willing to work with us, if they have personnel, and if they don't, then I think we just need to put something in the paper and say we're looking for somebody to mow it.
I think we could do that anyway, probably. I mean, long term, we know that we don't wanna take the road and bridge boys away from their job right now, so.
Or I can't imagine the city of Peabody has enough people to go and
As you
and
said,
send
in
somebody
the
to
summertime,
mow.
no one has any excess people.
Yeah.
Well, with schools out and stuff, would you think that there would be, and I'm not talking about young kids or anything like that, but with the schools out, would there be somebody looking for?
Typically for the county to contract, we try to get somebody that has work comp insurance, if
That's
possible.
what I mean, it'd be like a lawn mowing business.
Okay, so you're looking for contracts, to contract it out.
It's just, not that we wouldn't want to pay somebody else, but just the liability part of
So I guess we need to think about that real fast, like for the next meeting, because the grass is gonna grow with the rain that we had, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I can start putting together a list of the parcels and getting an advertisement, getting some ads together to publish.
Yeah, because if you advertise it, you're gonna have to list all the parcels.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then, well, of course, we don't know till we see which ones they are, to know if they're large lots, small lots.
Usually we just ask some people, we list them and we say, give us a bid on how much you're gonna charge.
And would it be easier to put the address rather than the parcel?
Yeah.
I mean, I could drive
That's
by
what-
and look at an
Yeah,
address
they'll-
easier than I
That's
could
what I
do
do.
a
That's what they
parcel.
would
That's
do.
what I do when I. put
They'd
them in.
price each one of them individual and come up with a total.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to discuss?
No, just that, just so we can get after it, either get in the paper for somebody to get somebody hired, or we take and, you know, we've got the park, this is their busy time too. I mean, they've got a nice trailer, they've got a nice truck and stuff, but to send somebody around, it'd take a good day of his time to send somebody out if we had an extra park person out there to do that too, so. And then this first time's gonna be rough, tough on the mowers. That's, like I said, if I get my brush hog back, well, probably the brush hog got one down there just to knock it down, because it's such a.
So I do have one kind of administrative question for you. It's just, if you educate me on this a little bit, Tina. I was looking at the revenue sheets that we get, not at the end of the month on payday, but we get them like a week or two after. There is a line item on there that says donations. And on each, and you have these revenue reports for almost each department.
Several of them do.
Yeah, and and the one I have right here is the park. And I noticed there's some nice donations, and some, you know, people are generous and do donate. Is this the only place when we get donations that are recorded is on their revenue report in the individual?
No, it's on the budget reports also. And the park donations, there's a specific line item for like trees and memorials and park improvements, and those are usually designated for what they're supposed to be spent on in the park.
So some of the donations might be memorials and.
Yes, a lot of them are.
Yeah, it does say that. It says memorials and donations.
Oh, okay.
So then it's also on the budget under that.
It's on the budget report and it's on your I have to look and see if it's listed out separately on your financial statements.
Okay, because I didn't see them, and I was trying to determine on some of these. Just
I'll try to make a note, and when we get the next round of budget reports in a week or whenever we get them, then I'll try to show you on there where it is.
okay, that'd be great. Okay. So then the next thing that I have that I will just say is on the Leadership Marion program. I've been working on that, and I found the majority of all the old or the last known board members. And I had called Topeka, I had called Newton, I had talked to everybody that was involved in this. And I do have a list of the last known board members, and they have agreed to get together. In fact, they had a meeting, an initial meeting, to reestablish. And so I have a copy of their minutes, and it's just a couple of them. But since this meeting took place, I also contacted some of the other board members, and they're willing to join up with it as well to get everything back in place. And so the next meeting that they have, they will be appointing, reappointing officers and so on and so forth. And so I wanted to bring that to the commission's attention. In fact, they asked me to bring it to the commission's attention that this will be coming down the pike, and that they would like to, you know, Marion has a lot to gain by having that board reestablished. And those people are so eager.
That's
They
good.
loved it.
Is that something that I can have,
What would you like to have?
all the information that you have?
Oh, okay, well, these are my emails here, but I'll give it to you, sure. This is a copy of, if we make a copy and give it back to me, because I also need to continue to contact some of these people. And this is just the email that she sent it to me. So, like I say,
So this is all the information?
that's all, this is just another copy of the minutes that you have right there. And like I said, the first meeting was just to get the known people that I, just off the top of my, at first realized were the past board members. And then they would be the owners of the records. And so they would be coming to get those records and stuff to reestablish the program. And through the conversations that we've had with the foundation and with Topeka and different places like that, that would be the proper way to go. So, just heads up. And that's, like I say, that money's just sitting there. It's been sitting there now, I think it's about a year now. And so there's a lot of people and kids and stuff in this county that could benefit from that. And they're actually anxious to put it back together again and utilize it for Marion County. So,
I'm going to make a copy of this.
sure, go ahead. Do you have any comments on that, Ken, do you have any problem
No,
with that?
I think that's great.
I'm
Eager
happy
to get
with-
up and do it again.
Yes, I am very happy with that, because from the stories that I've heard in the past, there was a lot of benefit, one side of it is one portion, the other side is for the youth.
Yeah.
And they were telling stories about some of the programs that the youth went through and how the youth got up at a banquet and gave testimonials of what they learned. And
Well, they were active
experiences.
for a number of years.
Right, they were, and I heard why it kind of went to the wayside a little bit, but anyway, like I said, and these are, the members that I had talked to so far was Trace Warner and Patty Decker, Nicole Suderman, Tina,
This is Marion County Leadership Program you're talking
yes,
about?
it is, yes. Tina Groening,
Oh.
I'm sorry, no, not Tina. And then there's two other ones, and they're in Wichita and in Newton, and I'm going to Bel Air today to SCED, so I have an arrangement to meet with the other person too, but that person's also very anxious very happy to reestablish it. Anyway, I just want to bring that up. And the next two things that I have are actually road issues, and I see Jesse is on simply for area fuel bids.
He's on for department business, but whenever we do area fuel bids, we also assess
Okay.
separately. So
That's great.
he's here for department business,
We'll
and
do
then
that.
he's coming back later for his
For
budget.
his budget, okay. So I'll just leave that for that. And let's see. I guess that's all I have in at this moment. And we're just about there with Jesse, 5 minutes. So.
Bud here? Oh,
Does
he's
any-
here. Bud's here. I just seen him.
Okay, Bud's here, we'll bring Bud in. Bud, come on in. You have an extra 5 minutes today.
Good.
I hope you have some very good news for us. I've been anxious to find out what the heck is going on.
Yeah, surveying is completed down there at the transfer station.
Okay?
Plans are starting to be drawn up. Keith will more than likely he'll be here when he has them done, unless he wants to check over something with me first, you know. Just so you guys are aware, the plan is to open up the wall in between the two floors. From not quite all the way on the south end, because we want to have a little office area there, but just about all the way. So then we're going to have the full 60 foot to work with, but it's still going to be recycle on the one side and trash on the other. But that way, we're not cramped. We'll have bigger space to work. And that's how he's going to draw up the plans. And he says, yeah, it'll work out great to do that. So just that's where we're standing on that. One thing I have been thinking about is what we're going to do with our recycling when this goes about, because our recycle room's going to disappear the minute the part that's torn off. I've checked with both City of Marion and City of Hillsborough to see if they had a building available for us to use, and they don't. So I checked with Jesse to see if we could use the yellow building out here at the south shop for our recycling building, you know, and keep it cleaned out like we do every 2 weeks. The only thing is I don't know if the City of Marion will be able to back into it and dump with their truck. I don't think the ceiling or the roof is high enough to do. I'm not sure. I'd have to do some measuring. But anyway, I don't want to stop recycling. That's for sure. We don't want to stop that. We want to keep going if we can.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just a matter of finding some place to put it.
Basically, they have to have a machine out there the day that they dump to push it in then, right?
Usually there's a loader. Road Bridge has a loader there, you know, that fits in the building, so you might be able to just use it's a solution that can be solved, just trying to get it.
Are we gonna have two load ramps when the new plans are here? Are you gonna have two pits?
Yes.
Then why not have a trailer in the old pit?
We gotta use the old pit for trash and stuff while they're building the new one.
Okay, so you didn't say that.
Okay.
You said to me, you was talking about long-term, and I'm.
Okay, well,
I'm.
it's gonna be, the situation is our room for storing the recycling is gonna disappear.
Well, go ahead, while we're building.
While
If-
we're
if-
building.
If that's where we decide to
Right,
go.
right, if that's where you decide to go. Okay, so that would be the thing, is where we would put our recycling, you know, to store it before we put it into the trailer. I've been thinking if there would be some way that we could pull the trailer out, put the trailer in, recycle, and push it in there, you know, and do it that way. It's a little more work, but for the big haul, you know, we're just gonna have to stop the public from going in and throwing their recycles on the floor. They're gonna have to put it in the bin out front, and then we just keep that one empty. There's so many different solutions that we could have without needing an external building, you know, but just something that will need to be figured out. And I'm just trying to get that under control right now, is the only thing. Everything else is going smooth, so.
You're looking at the term of while the construction, if that was to happen there, that's what you're looking at.
Right, right, just that term, while the construction is
After
going
it's
on.
done, then there'd be no reason
No,
why.
because the west pit would be the recycle pit, and the east one would be the trash, so. That's the only,
I thought you was
no,
talking different stuff.
no, not long term. I'm just talking while construction is going on, because we're gonna lose our storage room for the recycles. Once that gets tore off, because that room is coming out of there. Because it's right there on the other side of that wall, you know, that they're gonna save, or that we're gonna open up, whatever. So anyway.
Well, it stands to reason that doing construction, you're gonna have to make do with what you got.
Right, you know, and if we have to pull a trailer out, back one in, and recycle, we may have to just schedule it differently, you know. Marion is the only one that we would have to worry about. We could, ourselves, what we do, we can work around that. You know, it would just be Marion's deal of coming in on Thursdays and Fridays. So.
Did Lou say that they was starting recycling that? Did Lou say that?
But he said the other day had planned on using, or assisting with us, working with us, that they were gonna work with
Well,
us.
if they start bringing it in, we'll have to just go right directly to the trailer then, because there's no way we can store that much and jump back and forth trying to pick it up and do it. But I'll get it figured out. There's no problem on that. So, but other than that, yeah, everything's going good, going smooth. Keith's been in touch with me, so HHW's, everything's still coming in. We're still getting rid of it, so. Then I need to buy some more chemicals. Yep. I'm running out. We've had a real good month, the month of May, for sales, so.
Oh, it's too bad the other people didn't bid on it.
No, they never do,
Oh, yeah, it's too bad.
yeah. Now, I'm gonna leave you guys the option if you want to do it all or not. You know, if there's only one item that's different, and it's $6.30 difference in the bid, so I'll let you,
Neither one of these CPS or Van Dyce is locals, right?
no. One's out of Goddard and the other one's out of Abilene. So,
Well, CPS is the least, or not the lowest bid if you go totals.
yeah.
And let's see, you said one was 6 cents difference or something, was that the,
There's, yeah, $6.30 difference on the Arsenal.
on the arsenal?
See, the dicamba, I had a whole pallet go out right away after I got it in, which, you know, they've got the ground to put it on. I don't question it, you know. I still had a little bit left over, but everybody still wants dicamba, so I'm wanting to sell it to them. The Mojave and the Arsenal, that's our bare ground mixture. We got started, we got all of the buildings sprayed around that the county owns, and we started on the guardrails, and then I reordered twice that I could do, you know, with my $1,000 limit, and I still got down by Peabody to do, and then the north half of the county to do, so I'd like to go ahead and get more of the bare ground for the guardrails, because that makes such a big difference on the blacktops especially, to have them weeds killed off and not hanging out over top of the guardrails and stuff, so that's what that's for.
Does either one of these deliver, or do we have to go get?
Yes, no, they deliver. They both deliver, so. And that's delivery price.
Do I have a motion for any one of these bids by the commission?
I'd make a motion to go with CPS for everything but the Arsenal, and then to go with Van Dees for the Arsenal.
Got a motion by Randy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Kent. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye. Okay?
Okay.
That?
That's, I did do what I call a force spray with some musk thistle on a property owner. He had no way to, I had sent him letters last year, and it was getting to the point where he either do it or we were going to do it for him, and he asked me if I could line somebody up to do it. The person I had lined up, I had to have 200 acres to do it, and one guy dropped out because he sprayed his own, so I didn't have the 200, but we went out and sprayed about 40 acres. Had to do it with backpack, but we got it done in about 6 hours, so it's taken care of, so. And
How's our four-wheeler?
I can't use four-wheeler, too many trees.
Too many trees.
Yeah,
Okay.
I couldn't get it in there. I would have used it, but it's one of them deals that you do what you can do. We wanted to try to get the pickup in there, you know, and spray it, but we couldn't even get it in there. And then I thought, okay, let's do the four-wheeler. Yeah, Lake's using the four-wheeler right now. They're spraying with it. So, yeah, they asked if they could use it. Back when I first came, I told them, yeah, as long as I'm not using it, they can use it. So they come and get it when they need it. And then I told them, I said, well, if you guys got a place to store it, you know, go ahead and hang on to it. And if I need it, I know where it's at. So we work together on that. Go from there. So.
Do you know, have you been in contact at all with Call Valley? Do you know when we might hear something from them? Have you got any idea? Just a guess?
He came down, let's see, it was last Wednesday, I think it was. We met down there and he walked through getting everything. Like I said, his surveyor finished up last Monday, a week ago, not this last Monday, a week ago, week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago. But anyway, he came down then on Wednesday and we met and walked through, and he kind of wrote down his ideas and my ideas, you know, and I said, well, you know, throw this together, and then maybe when he gets something drawn up, we can bring it to you. But he said that he was getting on it right away, so I don't know how long it's going to take him. So I would say probably by, and I can get a question to him and ask him and let you know too, when we can expect something. So
I'd like to know something. I'd like to move along.
That'd be nice.
I'd like to know
We can-
something.
right,
You know,
I'll get a hold of
expedite
it.
it if possible.
Right, I know he said he was getting on it when he got back, you know, and they were going to get on and drawing up plans and stuff. So,
Okay.
so anyway, I'll get a hold of him and see if he's got an idea, and then
Sounds good.
I'll let you know. So
Sounds good to
I'll
me.
just send you guys a text, that way you know what we can expect,
Okay.
or you want me to just let you know? I'll let you know.
Then we can get it scheduled on the agenda whenever, but I mean, it's fine if you talk to them, as long as you're not talking to them all at once, and as long as you're not having, like,
You can only send one text.
yeah, so,
I'm not educated enough to do
if
that.
you're just giving information, but if it's discussion, then,
I'll just let you know,
yeah,
and you can take care of it. So,
I can send out the information to you all.
yeah,
Yep.
that'd be fine. I'll do that.
That'd be good.
Yep. And other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, that sounds
Thanks, Bud.
good.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Bud.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Yep.
Jesse,
Good morning.
good morning. You have an extra 10 minutes today.
How about that? Okay. Area fuel bids.
Thank you.
These can't be split up.
Well, I guess they can be, but why would you?
Exactly.
So, do I have a motion to,
I'll make a motion to accept the area fuel bid from Cooperative Grain Supply for $12,455.50.
I second.
I have a motion by Kent, second by Randy, all in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. I have salary changes, 1 year anniversary for Jesse Smith, and promotion from EO1 to EO2 for Matt Bryant.
Okay, so Jesse Smith goes from $3,472 to $3,539, 1 year raise. And Matthew Bryant, this is a promotion, so he goes from $2,310 to $2,486.
Did you three receive the chip seal quote from Morris County?
Yes.
Yes.
Did anyone need to relook at that? I have it here if you need to. That is the 1 mile of 340th going east of 77. They are chip sealing that road, well, the Burdick Road this year, as well as I am chip sealing that way as well. They came up with a price of $24,006.32. I figured ours at $16,912.80.
The only problem that I have with that is we have a resolution that we agreed to do this with them. It was in your packet, did you not have it in your packet? We agreed to do
You
it.
get a copy of all that old information?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There was never an
I asked
attachment. I
Jen.
seen an email and I
Just
thought you
send it
sent this, but I didn't see no attachment with it. But
Okay.
Yeah.
The way, the background of that, with the resolution, the board wanted it that they would have the option to decline if they saw the quotes and they didn't want to do it. So that is the way that it was done. That's the way that, if you look in the minutes and so forth, they've looked at the cost and then they've decided whether to go ahead or not each time.
And so the only thing that I still have, I understand your history,
Right.
But that's not stated, it does state in the resolution that they would like to have the price. Wait. Marion County Board of Commissioners believe this would be mutually beneficial to both parties and would result in good road at a reasonable price. It does, I thought I read in here somewhere where they did ask for the price quote, but it doesn't say that it was contingent upon that. And it doesn't say that, it just simply says that they'd like to see in advance. So I understand, and I know they turned it down the first time. I seen where Dan Hall, and you added those minutes and all that type of stuff, but then ultimately you signed the resolution to do it, which,
They signed the resolution to do it with the option of seeing the quote first and each time on that rotation. So probably, maybe you want to have Brad take a look at that because he hasn't seen it yet. That's the history. And I'm just letting you know historically what they have done. They did the resolution and then at least once, if not twice, they saw that what it was going to cost and they declined because the county was either doing it or could do it for less.
well, I'd like to go ahead then and table that and let Brad see it, because
Yep.
that is important that we sign that resolution. I mean, that says it all pretty much, but then I also have to question, and I realize what you're saying with the price, but Jesse, you're so busy right now, and you're right there. Is it not reasonable to, and they do such a good job. I mean, they do a good, I travel that road regularly.
They have a great team.
They do.
But they learned from Marion County. Years ago, they came here to learn from us.
Well,
And
despite that, I don't know anything about that in the past. I'm just saying, traveling the road that they do, and then coming over onto our road, where they're right there, and then we signed that. So I kind of have a problem going back on our word with them. If the resolution is what I think resolutions are supposed to be, I mean, I don't like signing resolutions and saying we're going to do something and then don't. So maybe we should just let Brad talk about that. But I think probably in time, we're going to shaft ourselves out of it anyway, because they're out there doing it now. They're out there working on the road, preparing to patch it and so on now.
and that's what we're doing. I mean, we're preparing our end. All we gotta do is just jump over the highway. I mean, we're right there at Lost Springs, on both sides of Lost Springs, and then we're just jumping over the highway. We're right there. And I had it in my plan this year.
Well, I don't know. Is there, I don't know, a resolution, is there, we don't know, what is the legal conflict? I mean, they're not gonna do anything if we say no, but we're just gonna make an enemy of our neighbor. I mean,
Jeff Blosser and I have a great relationship of working together. I mean, if we need something, we talk it out. He's willing to come over here and help us. There's some Lego block bridges that he's doing right now in his county that I've asked for his assistance on. If we decide to do that in some areas, he's more than willing and ready to come and assist us on that. I mean, I feel that I have a great relationship with Butler County, Morris County, Chase County, McPherson County.
well, no, I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that if we back out of an agreement, something that we said that we would do,
But it actually says Morris County offers in the whereas.
That's,
Doesn't say will.
that's not where.
Under the resolution 2014-26.
Where are you reading that at? Okay, you're reading
Whereas.
right here. Well, that's,
Morris County offers to chip and seal.
right, okay, that's nothing. Then down there it says, therefore it will be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Marion County to approve the Morris County Road Department to chip and seal the above stated road at 3-year intervals. Marion County agrees to pay the actual cost of said project to Morris County. Morris County shall provide advance notice and approximate cost prior to work commencing each cycle. That's the bottom line, is what I'm getting at. So I'm saying there may be a little bit of to do the right thing by the resolution and what we signed with our neighbors. I think I'd like to have a little legal advice on that.
I think that's appropriate to have the legal advice and really to determine moving forward what the board,
Can do.
what the
should do.
actual intent of the board is,
The intent of the old board was they offered to honor it if it was possible to go ahead and do it, if we was not doing what Jesse's doing, if he was not up in that area, if we was scheduled somewhere else and didn't have time, that was the original intent that he offered to us. If we didn't have the time, if our road foreman said they didn't have time, we would probably went ahead and done it. And that was the intent, and I think that's what we passed back to them to know that.
But you're right, it doesn't specifically state that on the resolution at the bottom.
That was the intent.
And I know in some cases intent plays a heavy role on a decision. In some cases, intent is irrelevant. So I don't know, that's why I asked for the legal part.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll table that one for now.
And I don't see it in there, but there was some discussion that we could opt out at any time too, so. That was something else that, didn't want to commit a lifetime.
If you all decided to do something different, you would need a resolution probably or a vote to rescind that resolution.
Can I ask what year that resolution was?
2014, yes, December 2014.
Thank you.
That's why I think, yeah, it's a 3-year interval, so, and it was in December, so.
Just one thing I have is purchase 2 more KDOT trucks for $20,000 apiece.
Is that the 2 you wanted?
Yes.
So now you have a
So
total of
the
3.
checks, yes, checks have been sent and just waiting for a release on that, and we'll go pick them up.
Good.
So,
And they're nice trucks?
so far the one we have, the guys are kind of liking them a little bit. So it's working nice on our swag crews. We got low sides of the bed there. Makes it easy to load with the backhoe. So, yeah, things right now are going fine with it.
Good, good.
That's all I had to report with you right now.
Okay. So Jesse, I have a question or two for you. On 310, I know we discussed it briefly, I think last meeting, that there was a new home being built, and I think it's on 310 going west. Is that the one on Limestone, 310 going west? Did you walk the road? Did you walk 310 going west?
320th going
320.
west of Limestone.
Is it 320?
There's a new home going up.
Okay, I'm sorry, then it's 320.
Yes.
Okay.
They paid for the rock and everything already.
Okay, so they did go ahead and pay the,
Yes.
just do the base.
Yes. And the top rock, yes.
Okay, that's why I wanted to make sure that we were consistent with what we
Money
wanted.
has already been paid, so.
Okay, that was my question.
I take that before we even do anything.
Okay.
So,
I just was wanting to make sure, it wasn't mentioned last week, and I know we did that to the family on Goldenrod.
yes.
And,
Goldenrod, I kind of got involved because I didn't feel safe about where they had their entrance. We kind of had floodplains on both sides of the driveway, and I was concerned, so definitely got all you involved on that. Yeah.
so, okay, and I know that we need to get together, we had the work session things on that, and kind of dropped the ball, haven't got back on it to actually make a policy.
Correct.
And since then
Brad
I've
said
learned.
he's, I think, working on that, I believe, I think.
Oh, is that the policy he's working on? Because I know there's
I
other
don't know,
ones.
well, last week we talked about one, maybe that's not the one.
That's not the one.
Okay.
That's not the one that he's working on. No,
Well, I need to get with Brad on some other things, so.
yeah. I think we need to really get onto some of these definite policies. And in the meantime, I had learned some more stuff on it too, so if we do another work session and bring it up as a subject matter to discuss, I had a change of mind on some things by talking to the counties and the way things are, so just throw it out in discussion at some point in time before we finalize some sort of a policy. And so I've seen also that you're doing some work, some patchwork on 330th from Limestone East. I've had several calls on that. Not good. People are questioning me as why we're putting rock in there rather than, are you going to put overlay over top of that then for the rock? You're just actually repairing the base?
Yes. We'll blade patch over that. That's a road for chip seal this year, so just getting that knocked out so we can chip seal hopefully in July or August.
I see, okay. So then all the places, because I noticed they are digging out areas, some of the larger areas, and putting in the rock, but then if you go up just a little bit, you're gonna have other holes or whatever that they're just bypassing and moving on to the next bigger area.
Yeah, right now, we're, a lot of times it's just, the hole, the rock is there, it's not dipping out too much. Yeah, there's a pothole, but the rock is there, it's not that soft, so we're gonna be blade patching over them. We're gonna be blade patching over all the things you see, including the rock, including the potholes, just some that we feel are subgrade issues that we definitely have to take care of to try to get a little bit more support in there. Yes.
That's a practice that you've been using now for
Quite a while. We're kind of changing a few things. Throughout the years that I've been here, 11 years, we've tried different scenarios, some that kind of work and some that have failed, and we're trying something a little bit different this year on a few of them. We're having a few good reports back or visuals that we're seeing, so I don't know. It's been a trial and error for many years, and we're hopefully not making it worse. I don't think that by any means. So just trying to better it, it's upgrade. There's a lot of cattle plots, there's a lot of heavy farm equipment, there's just a lot of stuff on that road, and just don't quite have the base out there, so just trying to patch some things up.
So then another thing that especially with the windmill company being up there, and the way they're making roads, people are paying attention. And and I traveled on them because it was brought to my attention and things like that. And I know what they're doing to the roads, that they're making roads where there weren't roads. And I know they're spending more money on making their gravel roads than what we ever have. But I'm just wondering if we can't maybe spend a little bit more time or do something a little different on our roads that we're making, because they're just not lasting. I mean, we get a little bit of rain, our roads are soup. Our gravel roads are soup. And I understand the nature of the beast, I got that. But something is not right, and something's not working. And even when it rains, the people need to be able to get in and out without going through soup. So I'm wondering if we can't maybe redo something differently.
Well, I mean, your ideal way for gravel roads is 4 to 6 inches thicker rock on top. You want true honesty there, that you got to have 4 to 6 inches of rock. You got to build it up with base of rock. You know, all these wind farm routes, they don't have nothing less than 4 inches of rock on top. What we did this year by going to Woodbine and to Waverly, I'm sitting at the end of May and I'm out of rock money. And I'm almost out of Woodbine rock. And Woodbine rock has not lasted like I've seen other rock last. Waverly, I don't have enough tell because we can't get that in quick enough. I'm out of money. And I've pulled the reins back already on my supervisors because I'm flat out scared of what we're paying $20-some a ton for rock, and I'm almost already out of that. And I got wind farms, people saying how I need to build roads like wind farms, but I don't have $50 million either, and I can't put it 4 inches thick on these roads. So, budget presentation for me today, you're going to see an increase in rock budget because I don't know what else to do.
Will we see a decrease then in the purchase of equipment? I mean, are we offsetting a little bit there?
Not really, because I got other equipment that's in bad shape. I got mowers in bad shape. I don't know, mowers, backhoes are in bad shape. I need a bridge plan in this county.
Okay, so I guess, Jesse, I'm just asking you this question because this is what was asked to me. Actually, I've had several questions asked to me. I'm asking you the same question.
That's fine.
Okay. Understand what you just said about you don't have the money for the rock, etc. and so forth. I'm just wondering, are we dollars ahead by just doing these patchable things, putting a little rock here and a little rock there, and moving on and still having soup?
You mean gravel roads are you talking about?
I'm talking gravel roads right now. Or would we be better off if we did put 4 inches of rock on certain roads and fix a couple roads right or good, so you don't have to go back 2 or 3 times a year? Well, nobody goes back 2 or 3 times a year, but I mean, over and over and over. Would it not be more economical to do it? I want to say right, I
But
want to say right, yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying, but what do I do with all the complaints? Now, you're getting complaints, you say. These people aren't calling me, I guess, but I'm getting complaints too. How do I cover a whole county by concentrating on putting 4 inches thick? I mean, we get a rain last night, that's one of quite a few we've had recently, and we got a whole county that's wet, and they're struggling. A lot of times people aren't patient enough to let the road cure out. Do a little bit of blading and the road's good a day or two later once it's dried out a little bit. Drivable and safe.
Well, that's right, but see, here's what I'm hearing is, well, I had a doctor's appointment on this day or whatever, had to go to work, whatever. I can't wait till 2 days down the road to go to work or 2 days down the road to go to the doctor, I have to go now.
Correct.
So, I mean, to ask them to wait till it cures out is probably not the right thing. But what they're saying to me is, I'm just telling you what they said, what we're doing is not working. So we need to think of something different. And I understand what they're saying, you know, I mean, it's evident all throughout. So that's why I'm asking, if we could put our heads together and come up with something different. I don't know, and it is, you know, it is true. I'm sorry, but the windmill people are up there right now, and so now everybody is witnessing good roads. They just built these roads.
And you call them good roads, they're good for this project, but they're not gonna stay like that. They're gonna narrow them back up. They're gonna build them back the way they need to be.
Well, no, I understand that.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand that, but what I'm saying is what they did. So now you have the rain, they're just as good today as they were before the rain.
And so is my rebuilds. The 2 miles I just got done with last week. We've had these rains, and guess what? They're holding great.
Even last year's, Jesse, I mean, you look at.
Last year's, it's holding up. Pawnee. I mean, I'm still getting compliments on Pawnee. They said, this is great. One little tiny rain, and we ain't sticking it 4-wheel drive. I feel we're doing a great job on rebuilds, but in our line item of gravel road rebuild projects is $200,000, and then I have $750,000 for gravel road, just for road rock. So that gravel road rebuild project line item is putting me at somewhere to 15 to 20 miles a year, which we're not getting a lot tackled in this big old county at 15 to 20 miles.
Cost per mile probably is above 15,000.
About I figured around 15,000, and that's,
Per mile.
yeah, that's base rock and top rock. You know, I have my own line items for fuel and stuff like that and labor, so
Right.
that's just rock alone.
Rock only.
And I remember back when I first started, the rebuilds consisted of 400 ton of base rock and 300 to 400 ton of top rock in 1 mile. I've bumped that up to 800 to 1,000 ton of base rock and 400 to 600 ton of top rock. Because I felt when we would rebuild a road, I felt in the past that we just weren't putting enough, and I learned that from Randy Crawford. You gotta get more rock, you gotta build these bases with rock. And some of the roads he did have lasted, and that's what I'm implementing on these roads. And I'm not saying anyone did anything wrong, I'm just saying that adding more rock has really benefited, and we need to keep doing that. And several miles, 10 or 15 miles we did last year on rebuild, they're holding up, and the 3 miles we've done this year are holding up through these rains that we've had. Then now I'm incorporating sand in on them. People are loving the sand. It's really just adding to it. The dust, even when it does rain, you're not getting just muddy cars, and we're going pretty far with the sand. It's doing great things for us. But to answer your question, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, and see, I'm in the same boat because I'm you know, to answer the questions that I'm hearing.
and I got 5 truck drivers, 5 full-time truck drivers that do all in rock. 5 drivers for 800 miles of gravel road, and the whole county's calling in after a rain. You know, we used to convoy and knock 1 mile out, and then there's past commission didn't quite like the convoying to knock out 1 mile real quick. So, and it also helps if I spread all my trucks out like we do now. It kind of shows the whole county that we're trying to make an attempt everywhere at one time. So,
Yeah, I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying, but you are trying, and I'm not criticizing
yeah.
your efforts. You can't give you any fault for effort.
And
But,
that gentleman came in yesterday and said, you know, you've spotted in on places on the road we live on, but the places you didn't spot in was good then, now it's bad now. Well,
the spotting never does, I don't, spotting doesn't go far with me.
when you're tight on budget, it
Yeah, and
helps.
I got that, I do got that, but you made a very valid point just a few minutes ago, in what you said, you get a little rain and the whole county's calling in, and that in itself should be a testimony that something's not right. I'm just wondering, and you're gonna come in later for the budget,
Yeah.
and I know you have it pretty much prepared to what you
Yes.
think we need, and I'm just wondering if maybe we can't rethink a little bit about actually more money for walking, doing more on the roads, or doing more roads and gravel, doing a little better. I'm just asking the question because people are really, really on me about these roads.
How are you two? Are you guys getting a lot? I mean,
Oh, I hear, I hear infrequently, but I also hear some, what you've done on the rebuilds and stuff, people are happy with. So, I mean, I don't have my phone's not ringing off. And I realized, after we had even this in the northwest part of the county, they were slopped out for 4 or 5 hours. I mean, the ground's so dry that it doesn't take very long. And I also realize your maintainers need to be on them when there's dampness, not mud, but dampness.
some kind of moisture
Right.
helps.
But, I think overall, I'm not talking to the other 2 districts, but most people understand that there's only so much that can be done. But I talked to you about a guy that, had a little problem, and one of the trucks was coming up our way toward the end of the night, and it was taken care of because he was just able to load a load and bring it up. Well, you don't know how thankful those people were. And I said, well, when Jesse can accommodate somebody like that with a truck that's going out for the night, that's a great thing, and people are appreciative of that. But, I realize there's no way we can budget for 4 or 5 inch rock on 800 miles.
That's a lot of money. I mean, I agree with you, Diane. There's ways of improving these, but just trying to, I know what we're doing with our rebuilds, and, and then when I'm doing rebuilds, and for us, it takes about a week a mile.
Sure. I know.
So then, if I do a 4-mile stretch, I'm hoping 4 to 5 weeks we're in and out, weather pending. But then all of a sudden, I'm crunching up a bit. I got to get them guys back to their sections and maintain their miles. And that's then all of a sudden these people are mad because they haven't seen their blade man. It's almost like I need a whole nother crew just to rebuild roads.
And see, that's what I was going to say to you. What would it benefit you to hire a couple more people because you're always short-handed?
Well, I mean, if we're looking at these extents of what you're saying and what you're kind of suggesting and asking is,
I mean, I
I
just feel
don't
like
know.
we're obligated. I mean, this is the number one thing that people see, is roads. This is the number one
and yeah,
problem, I mean problem, but I mean, at different areas, people, this is the number one thing on everybody's mind is their road. When you can't get out, or when you have a newer car, and it's not me, but you can't get out, your car gets all messed up or whatever, this makes people mad quick. And you can understand it. I mean, for whatever reason,
Understandable.
for whatever reason. So I'm just asking, what can we do to change, to make it better? Do we need to give a little here to get a little there? Do we need to hire more people? I mean, what do we need to do to make a change? Because continuing the way we're going, from what I'm hearing, people don't want to hear that, is not going to make them happy. I'm just saying, they're just looking after for. I had somebody make a comment, but maybe we should just contract out the roads. It's just, people, just what I'm hearing. Just a suggestion, I mean, this is where people are going to now. The thoughts that they're having.
like just maintaining or contract out rebuilds that we want to do.
And they were talking hard tops because the one that they were talking
Oh.
about, the one that I was talking about, was a feedlot up in my end of the area. And that road that you're going to patching on right now, digging out 330th, okay? They said, why don't we just contract it out and do it right? I mean, you know,
Well, and that's what, you know, the Roxbury thing happened last year, and that's what I want to try to implement in this county is the direction. I've talked to numerous people, professionals, and they said you finally, county, the commissioners, everyone finally did the right thing. We were going with concrete stabilization. And the hell, the roads up north with wind farms, even the gravel roads, a lot of them are getting concrete stabilization. Those are going to be supposedly good for the next 20 years
That's
with
what
a
I hear.
hard base.
that's what I hear.
That's why we're testing on Nighthawk. I want that same process as Roxbury with that concrete stabilization. But, you know, these asphalt roads, we're talking big money there. Big money. And
But again, have we ever pushed, and I understand what you're saying, even if we did something like that, that would last 15, 20 years. Let's just say 15 years.
with preventative maintenance.
Was naturally, but if you take then the cost of going back year after year after year after year, or every 2 years or whatever, patch repair, are we actually saving money by doing it this way, or would we be better off a couple miles of road a year, the main roads, bite the bullet and do it? And just
Like,
do a little,
and you're talking asphalt?
I'm talking, yeah, like the 330th, or the stabilization that you're talking about, the concrete stabilization.
Well, you know, right now I'm looking at a road, I'm getting 2 different quotes that I would like to maybe even punch in this year. I'm just watching my budget, a little too early to tell on my budget, but I'm looking at a 3-mile stretch right now that's just crap, subgrade issue worse than East Tampa, that I'm looking at a concrete stabilization process and just putting some kind of like Nova chip or some kind of seal over the winter, over the top of it. That way maybe next year we can go put a chip seal on top of it or an overlay real quick, but at least we're getting that concrete stabilization process on a 3-mile asphalt stretch. I've gotten one quote back, and tomorrow I should get the other quote back. And it seems like this year I might have room in my budget for just in my blacktop budget to be able to maybe do that little project, but that's just a little 3-mile stretch, you know, and that's what I was kind of hoping I could start incorporating it. I don't want to get too late in the year because you have deadlines and stuff, but I was hoping to be able to knock out 2 miles here of asphalt or 2 miles there each year if I have a little bit of money there, and just even in my blacktop, you know. Last year we spent a lot out of that capital improvements for that 8-mile stretch, and plus our other overlays we did last year. Yeah, so that, I mean, glad to hear you say that because that's something I am working on right now, actually.
And I realize that your budget needs a little help, but it's something that, like I said, people just use these roads every day. And,
Well, I mean, I think every budget probably needs help, but, and there's a lot of responsibility here, and I don't think people want the taxes raised, so I'm trying to be lenient in other areas.
see, what I hear is a little different. People don't want their taxes raised. And everybody knows how I am about raising taxes. But on the flip side of that coin, people don't like paying taxes and then driving these roads. They're like, what am I paying for? See what I'm saying?
Correct.
So, yeah, we don't, and that's why I say it's in their face every day, that I'm paying taxes for this, and so that's where I'm going here. This isn't just an occasional service, it's a bear.
And if I felt that we were just sitting on our butts doing nothing or making no attempts, I would feel more sorry for the people paying, or myself paying taxes and not getting good results. I'm trying to come up with good results. We are out there trying to make improvements. I've been getting compliments. I get negative stuff too. I get probably maybe more than you, but I don't know. The fix.
And you get the A for effort, as I said earlier. But we need
I
to
tell
find
you,
a
the
fix.
biggest compliments that I get is if we got a well-trained maintainer on their section, the complaints have gone down dramatically.
And
And, you know, to me, training is just a great, you know, investment. Northwest Marion County has got a guy up there right now that people just swear by. And I haven't had one. That's where these all the complaints came. Now, I've had one.
I haven't had one either.
So, you know, as far as the training part of the budget, that's money that is very well spent.
And I've taken
Yeah, and I know you've
commissioner's
been doing
advice
some of that.
and trying to get this training, but we also gotta get work done.
Sure, and I know that it's time critical, and there are just certain times of the year that you can do that, but,
And I am pushing this training
Yeah.
on them guys.
and I
really am.
appreciate that. Because I think the county's been lax over the years getting that kind of training for individuals.
Well, and I will also say on the training though, as much money as we spent for training and as much as we say we're giving training, there's other forms of training that I think are a little more in-depth to roads, rather than just the handling of the equipment. Also, how the crown, my big complaint is
That was my
crowns and
last
ditches.
one. That was my
Crowns and
most,
ditches is what.
that was my last one. I mean, that was, all the training I've done has been books and looking at a machine and going over that. This last one was the most expensive. I had to break it out into 3 different groups, and we actually spent 2 days per group rebuilding a mile. That was actually hands-on. It was good. Stuff that I want all of us to know and learn how to do.
That's invaluable.
That was the best training I had last year that I've been trying to find.
That guy was a professional. I mean, he would.
Where'd that come from?
That came from Phil Newberry from Caterpillar. He goes around counties
He would
and
not settle for something halfway. It had to be just right.
yeah, you had called him and whatnot and checked him out, and when I got him hired, or not hired, but had
You,
him,
you pay him, right? I mean,
Yeah,
the
we
fee.
pay him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they're-
hiring.
I think it was $1,200 per group of 6. I think he actually cut us, charges 5 per group, but.
The return on investment on that's far greater.
And even my veterans, because my veterans go into, here we go again. They actually all walked out with something new, or maybe even something they forgot about. I was very happy with that. Everyone got some satisfaction out of that training, which made me very happy.
Let's see how they use it on the road. Then we'll
And
be happy. That
we've
would be
done
nice.
2 miles, and I've talked to them guys how much they're using quite a bit. And one thing I was needing to do, we got some more rebuilds coming. I was actually going to call him and ask him if he would have some one-on-one time with our rebuild crew while we're rebuilding a road. See if there's some things he can help us out with on those issues during this summer. See if he has a break in his schedule, be able to do 2-3 days of one-on-one time with my guys out there.
Great.
So that was another thing I was thinking about doing here in the near future.
Back to your issue, Diane, of picking the roads and stuff. Just for instance, years ago we come in, we didn't have a plan, and just for the east-west roads, try doing 3 miles and each skipping 3, if they say 90th was a main one, 120th was a main one, 150th was a main road, and even at that, trying to rebuild those where there was rock, tearing them down, new culverts, rebuilding the complete thing, is trying to skip 3 miles or so, just roughly, if that's the way it worked out, and then pick your areas, whichever road was a main road going north, like Pawnee, north of Alney, up to the old Highway Canada Road, or the old highway period. But in that area, that was sort of a goal, if we could get that. But what I was getting at is, in between those 3 miles, you get somebody down here that's got that much that you're talking about, they're upset trying to get to a good road to get to those.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's, so maybe we spent a lot of time there on that main road, but yet we didn't get to that person that you're talking about that's trying to get in or out. And that's, I don't know how you get to everybody in our county. I mean, until you come back and see, like you said, a road that's, maybe that road that's only got one person down it, how much money do you spend down that road for a quarter of a mile or something like that? That's some of the questions that has to be answered and sort of guidelines to spend some money on. And then you get down in this corner down here, they're on rock. On rock, you can't even blade down there where Jim Bob and them guys live down in there. Jim Bob Watkins. And it's one of the toughest areas, and no motor grader operator likes to come to this area down here because of rock, just below Florence, going towards Burns. And, so it's not easy to.
It's not easy, it's not a lot, but I'm just saying what I'm hearing, and I can't deny what I'm hearing, I can't justify it, I can't. So, because I know, and like you said, you know, you might have one home on a mile. But if it's a person that's paying taxes, they deserve the very same service that the people that have 3 or 4 homes on a mile. They need to be able to get in and out. So.
They're just as equal as anyone else.
Well, yeah, that's
and
my
I totally
point.
agree with that.
So, I don't know, I'm just bringing up, we need to think about it, just kind of mull it over and come up with, whatever we can come up with to serve the people the best.
Trying.
So,
Have you had any people come back, or the people come back that's doing all the testing on Nighthawk? Have they?
Not yet. I have. We have spoke, and they're not fine. I asked them if they found a lot of base under there. They said no. So, waiting to hear kind of how them test results come back on that.
Okay. I thought it was supposed to happen like in 2 to 3 weeks or so, and I didn't know.
Yeah, the contract signing time took a little.
Okay.
Took a little time there,
Okay.
so they got a late start.
Okay. Thank
that-
you, Jesse.
we'll see you back here in a little bit.
Yep.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so it is 10 to 11, and I think you're probably on the agenda next.
I think I am.
Yep, you may have the seat over there, please.
Over here,
Yes,
we've changed things.
we have.
Yeah,
We like to rearrange occasionally.
With your voice, though, everybody can probably.
I think so. I've got that courtroom boy. You want to hand those out to whoever would like a copy.
Okay.
My copy of my name yet. Service on it. I always start out reminding everyone, my name's Ty Wheeler. I'm the managing attorney of Kansas Legal Services out of Emporia. I serve 7 counties. Marion's one of those 7. We are a private, not-for-profit, statewide law firm. We operate on the same rules every other attorney here in town operates on. One exception is we're not in it to make money. Some years, last few years, we've been really good at doing that, not making money. I've been here 25 years now. I've been the managing attorney for 23 of those. Probably the last 3 years have probably been the toughest times to be at Legal Services. We've had some starts and faults and, you know, here and there. We receive funding from, I think last time I looked, it's 54 different funding sources in my office. All the way from, you know, small donations all the way up to our biggest grant is a federal grant from the Legal Services Corporation. That's about $65,000 in my office, about $2.2 million across the state. That one we've had some fun with. We've gotten through this budget year, and I think we're safe, staying at the same amount of money. 3 years ago, we got through about this time of year, and they told us they were getting a 12% cut. And the problem with that was when they tell us we're getting a 12% cut at the end of March, and the federal fiscal year started October 1. You know, you're halfway through a federal fiscal year, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, they took money away. And that happened right when I lost an attorney, and I've still not gotten the funds back to replace that attorney, so we're running at 3 attorneys right now. We try to be the attorney for those people who do not have access to the court system anywhere else. I do not want to compete with the private bar for a case. If there is a case that I can convince somebody here in Marion County to take, I'm going to ask them to take it. If somebody walks through my door and they tell me they got 1,800 acres out in the county, here another 1,200 over in Chase County, I might go through getting them a restraining order, getting them safe, but then I'm calling over and saying, hey Seth, would you take this case, or you know, Brian Bean or whoever locally is willing to take that case, because I don't want to be doing it. Most of the cases that we get on the domestic side probably have already talked to a private attorney and figured out that they can't afford a private attorney. Right now, the average retainer rate for a divorce in my 7 counties is $2,500 retainer up front, cash, on the barrelhead. Most of my clients who are living paycheck to paycheck, they don't have that, and they're not going to have that for 6 months to a year if they work at it. The people that we help are almost singularly domestic violence victims on the civil side. But generally, if there's not domestic violence, if somebody's not getting hurt, we're not getting in. Somebody calls in and says, hey, I got a new boyfriend, I want to get married, haven't seen my ex in 5 years. I'm telling that person to save their money and go hire an attorney. I gave you some numbers. The first one I'm going to talk about is the one that I hate the most. And in Marion County, this number has spiked because we went from 11 last year to 45 this year on rejects. Rejects is the number that I hate the most in my office. That is the number of clients who called me, who were within our financial guidelines, and who met a priority. They had a priority type case, a case we would usually get involved in, and we had to say no to. So we accepted 22 or 18 civil cases, we rejected 45. That's a terrible number. That means for everybody who calls from Marion County and says, hey, I need some assistance, 1 out of 3 is getting my help. Part of the problem is Marion County, like Chase County and like Morris County, is down on the number of attorneys. The number of attorneys here in town has shrunk dramatically in the last 10 years. Keith Collett became a judge, Dan Baldwin left, Ed Newman, Bob is not really taking cases anymore. Seth, who used to do some criminal work, used to do some domestic work, with Courtney now being the county attorney, he's not doing a lot of that. So I've seen a lot of attorneys from out of town over here. We get a lot of attorneys coming from Emporia anymore to Marion County, a lot from McPherson, a lot from Wichita. So I think we're getting a lot more calls because there's just nobody here locally to take the cases, especially with Keith, because Keith would take he would work out a payment plan with anybody to help take a case. I mean, he's just a nice guy, and I think he took in the shorts a lot of times on his clients where he did what I call the Lyon County pro bono. Take a case hoping you get paid, and then you don't. But last year our numbers were way up. We went from 21 to 49 representations. We went up from 10 to 18 civil cases. Probably having a public defender presence over here really helps because people know about us, they hear about us that way. Judge Powers asked us last year to come on the appointment list over here because there was a lack of local attorneys. We're now taking, I think we're one of 5 attorneys on that list, so we're taking about 1 out of 5 of every public defender cases, and we get paid by the hour on those. So we're over here a lot more. The cases that the money that I'm asking for today is for those domestic cases. It doesn't fund the public defender contract in any way. That is because of some restrictions we have from the Legal Services Corporation. Any criminal case has to be solely funded by that project or by a combination of criminal projects. And Emporia, we're sort of unique to Kansas Legal Services statewide. We have 3 fairly large public defender contracts. We have Morris County, we do all of it over there. We're the primary recipient over there, Lyon County, and now Marion County. And we do some for Burlington and the city court over in Burlington, and some in municipal court in Emporia and Council Grove. And the reason we do that is nobody pays me enough to do any individual case. About the only cases that really pay well enough for us to just do would be some mediations we do. Through CAMS is one. We did one CAMS case over here. That's Kansas Agricultural Mediation. That's where we help farmers stay on the farm. If they're having a problem with FSA, they want to do a refinance, we can help them through the mediation portion of that. We sit down with FSA and mediate and try to show them that, yeah, hey, this really does cash flow. That's what the one we did here last year was one where FSA came in on a restructuring and said, oh, you don't cash flow. And we brought in a financial analyst and worked out a deal with FSA. We liquidated some assets, and they said, okay, now you cash flow, which doesn't make any sense to me because liquidating assets didn't change cash flow at all. But that's what we did and made the FSA happy and kept that farmer on the farm. And then every once in a while we get a post office mediation. And we love those. Those pay $225 an hour for my time. That's one where I'm actually making a fair amount of money per hour. We get about 1 or 2 of those office-wide every year, and that's about it. But everything else, like on a domestic case, I'm using a little bit of federal money, a little bit of state money through the Access to Justice Fund, and I'm using a little bit of maybe Marion County money to put those all together, United Way, whoever it is that I can figure out to put it all together and get those cases done, because those are people that really need help. A lot of my cases, I get the phone call from the local attorney saying, hey, can you help this person? Or I occasionally get a phone call from the clerk's office, the judge's office saying, hey, I gave this person your number, please contact us. We have a special number that we hand out to domestic violence advocates and law enforcement. We got one good thing that happened this last year is the Violence Against Women Act money that comes through the Attorney General's office to us. They expanded the definition of what we can do. It used to be really the only thing we could do is do a protection order, restraining order case. And there are just only so many of those you can do. But they've expanded that now where we can do some follow-up on that. If there's a housing issue related to that, or if there's a crime victims compensation request. If somebody kicks in your boyfriend kicks in your front door, blows out the door frame, you gotta have a new door put in, we can now go to the Kansas Crime Victims Compensation Board and help them do an application. And that could be fairly significant. We had a client in Morris County, got assaulted and beat up by an unknown person. She had $45,000 in medical bills, and the Crime Victims Board picked up 25 of it. So there's $25,000 that she didn't have to pay, and that the local medical providers got that doesn't get written off by. Because if we hadn't been there, it would just got written off. I mean, there's no way they can collect from her, and so helps everybody out. Disability project in Marion County doesn't sound like a lot, but we put $54,000 back in the community last year here. I went and looked, and Marion County goes between 4 and 2 every year. We win 4 to 2 Social Security disability cases, just depending on why. You guys are fairly consistent over here in the flow because you're far enough west that all of your cases go to Wichita for hearing. If you are in Emporia, at some point you go to Topeka, at some point you go to Kansas City. And Wichita's bad enough. Wichita right now, I think we are waiting 24 to 26 months to have a hearing from the time we ask, almost 2 years. Kansas City is up over 3 years. Topeka was at 11 months. And then they brought in a whole bunch of cases from North Dakota, and those all took priority, and we went a year without having any hearings in Topeka because they were all catching up these North Dakota cases. And now we're looking at somewhere about 16 to 18 months in Topeka to get a hearing. And we consider that to be fast. So if somebody comes in and says, I'm disabled, been in a car wreck, I can't go back to work, my back is gone, I'm telling them, yeah, we'll get you on disability, your doctor says you're disabled, I say you're disabled, you're going to wait 2 years to get a hearing. It's sort of a terrible thing. But it's the process we go through. But Marion County, is almost always, it's just a number of consistent cases. I looked the other day, we have 78 total Social Security cases in my office just waiting for a hearing. So we'll run those through. And
To the whole office.
that's my 7 counties. Marion County, the number of cases open just startled me. We have 62 cases open in Marion County right now. Consider we closed 21 total last year. We got 62 open this year. The numbers are going up. And a lot of that's the public defender. We've got probably 40 of those are public defender cases. But I think by being over here more and being in court more, people hear about us more and people talk about us more, and then we get more phone calls saying, please help. And so we're trying to adjust because the 45 rejects is just, to me, is unacceptable. I'm going to ask for $4,500 this year. It's a $500 increase. It's not a lot of money, but that leverages me over here for 3 or 4 more cases. Appreciate your time. Now, you have any questions?
Do you have any questions, Randy?
No, that's not even averaging $100 for representation,
Yep. The Marion County money is, I look at it as just leverage money. It's where I can tell my boss I got to get over to Marion and get some cases done. I can look at that 45 number and say, hey, we got too many rejects in Marion County this year. We're going to direct some more funds over here. For example, Chase County only had 7 rejects. And we're like, okay, we need to look at Marion and see what's going on there. The other thing I always remind the commissioners, if you hear about something, if you hear about a problem, let me know. because every once in a while, there are legal issues out there that we don't hear about, you know. Our clients don't always communicate to us what the legal needs are of the community. And we do a statewide legal needs assessment about every 3 or 4 years. But that doesn't tell me the specific needs for Marion County. You guys hear it. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, I got a legal problem, give them my number.
Do you have any questions, Ken?
No,
Any questions by Ken?
appreciate the information.
Absolutely. And could you leave me a card?
I'm going to send you a letter, and I'll send some cards with that.
Perfect.
Okay? Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay, so next on the list is we're going to be opening bids for the IT service. And we're going to do that in executive session due to the security of everything involved in our IT. So at this time, I'm going to move that we recess into executive session for initial review of proposals submitted for technical support which contain proprietary information pursuant KSA 754319B-4 to protect data relating to financial affairs or trade secrets of corporations, partnerships, trusts, and individual partnerships with the commission. I would say, I don't know how many bids there are, 15 minutes. Does that sound reasonable to you to actually open these?
Sure.
Okay.
You can always go back in.
Commissioner Antina.
No, just the committee, we're just looking at the
Oh.
proposals. This is just initial. Yeah, for 15 minutes.
Is it getting thicker?
About done.
I'm sure. I start shaking in my chair.
Pretty much, I scratched them. It's gonna be tough to read, but I got them. Okay. So I think we're all back out of the executive session. No decisions were made. I will tell you who the bidders were. Wait for Tina to get her seat.
Thank you.
We had Gilmore Solutions, all covered. Advantage, which is Jayhawk Software, Next Tech. We had Tech Specialist, and also GPC&N. So we had quite a few bidders, and those were the ones who did supply a bid. They're very detailed, so they'll have to be reviewed to make sure that everybody complies with the bid process. And what would you say, about a week, 2 weeks, and we'll have some more information.
We're supposed to have
back.
at least a week review period, and then there'll be a summary prepared, which
To compare.
then you'll be able to show, we'll have the amounts, and then that'll be open to
Okay.
where we can have that for the public so they can see. And then at that time, then you can either decide if you want to talk to one or two, or if you want to make a decision.
That sounds fine. Okay, thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda is actually Jesse for budget preparation. However, I'm going to see if maybe we can make a little bit of an amendment here, because Tina wants to go into an executive session. So I'm wondering if we should move on to public comment, then have your executive session, and then go into Jesse's budgeting, if that's okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. So at this time then, if anybody has anything from the public that wishes to bring before the commission, this is your moment. Mr. Mike.
Yes, 5 weeks ago today,
That chair up there is your chair, unless you're gonna do a display.
guess it started 5 weeks exactly to the day. Some of the first rains that we started to receive. One call was to our second district commissioner, see if she could just come out and witness how bad the road was that morning. So,
Can you speak up?
where it went from there later in the day, I don't know why Jesse and I worked well together, informed him and stuff. Watched him grow up as a kid. Some of the first projects when he was on the culvert crew, 10, 12 years already. 11. We're right in front of my place. When we talk about working on the road, taking care of it, I'm trying to do nothing but absolutely help. Comments made was, I'm in the way, doing things I shouldn't. Some of my things are fairly unique from anybody else in the entire county as far as I'm concerned. That's a county motor grader in that picture. Took $900 after taxes and insurance home for 3.5 years. That machine had over 20,000 hours on it on the hour meter the first day I ran it, and still showed the 20,000 hours 3.5 years later. As far as equipment, here's the one I own today. It's a $140,000 machine. Got all the lights. Even Randy Crawford could never find anything wrong with my abilities. Here's my dump truck. It's got the same lights the county's got on. Probably this equipment is as good or better than probably only maybe a third of the county equipment. Newer or better. Getting to the cattle business, you can tell that things have changed from when I used to have 12 cows. When I first moved out there, 290th out of Lincolnville was a blacktop road. So, I mean, that's changed. Here's some totals yearly that I spend. I have about 2.5 miles of feed alleys and roads out past the trench. That's what I spend yearly to maintain them. So I know exactly how expensive it is to maintain. When we talk about bases, we bought 1.5 miles of railroad right-of-way ballast and got that hauled in, which is the base under all my roads. It's about 1 foot thick, up to 1 foot thick, minimum of 6 inches, depending how further up. That was over $30,000 just at one time up front. So when you talk about dollars per mile, you was talking about 15 to rebuild a road properly. It's probably very adequate in today's world, and that stuff, that ballast ended up being about $4 a ton delivered to my house, and still cost over $30,000 to put the base under that. And that's my maintenance cost to maintain them yearly. I was asked just Tuesday morning, if I was commissioner, what would it take to fix some of these issues? As simple as more money that got discussed earlier today. If we want our farm-to-market roads to stand up. There's disappointment still, I think, in the quality of the rock and how to handle that, how to get it spread evenly. The only thing else that can help road and bridge is efficiency. Whether we all, it's been, we ordered a couple new trucks, hope to have it up from the day we got the trucks, and we're several months later. It is be here soon. But again, we're hauling 14 tons instead of 25 with the same man, same fuel. Again, things get backlogged. Things don't go the way you want. I've not always been the tyrant, got more money than I know what to do with. That's the house I built personally for $22,000 sitting there a year after it was built. That's all I put in it and moved in. Built it myself. What led to that was my trailer house burning down that was set on that property. So when I give back to the community, some of that goes back to the few people that helped me when I was struggling with 3 kids in my house, not a pot to piss in or window to throw it out of, and I'm trying to give back years later. kind of keep it positive. I'm a fifth generation Marion County resident. I don't know if I'm still successful. My yearly bank payment on my property is $341,000 a year. So I have a $341,000 a year house payment today, and for the next 30 some years. The road was bad. Jesse was aware of it. We had talked about for at least a month ahead of that. At some point, we were going to need attention. If these feed trucks, that feed is made daily, delivered daily, so the road has to be passable with semi-trucks 24/7, 365. I don't have a problem even helping with that process. I think even Kent's been out viewed where the good hard rock's been put down for the last 6 years with a good base under it, and it's as hard as concrete almost. Yet you can it still distorts a little, so we can blade it a couple times a year under moisture. Rather than putting hundreds of tons of rock on it at a time, I like to put just a light coat 2 or 3 times a year. I don't have no windrow to drive off. We don't throw it off the road. Something as simple as there's $7 million worth of cattle there. They got to eat every day. I can't skip work. I can't, going to the doctor. We throw $10,000 worth of feed bunks every day, and I expect that to produce about $2,000 worth of profit every day. So if these trucks come in with mud, falls off in the feed while they're unloading, it gets scooped up in the feed bunks. We blow it out of the feed bunks. The cattle got to eat around it through it. I try very hard to use the same miles. We try to clean pens and fill silo kind of at one time of the year to a point to where that is hard on the road. I think Jesse can attest that a couple times where we've taken feed elsewhere. The Youngtown area was one where they were rocking on a road, and I said, well, can you put that off for a couple weeks till we're done hauling and then go back, which he did. So I think we try very hard to work together, do what's best. I watched on the 521 meeting, 10th introduction. Some of the stuff in the past, we still got to just forget, move on. I've been asked to do that from several people, even within my own realm, that, you know, what's best for the county? Well, that is to move on. The only thing I guess I didn't like over this last deal, I put it on the front of the folder so it's pretty easy to read. The date for 2018, I put $7,480.13 worth of rock on the Marion County Road over a 3-mile stretch, basically from the quarry, Zebulon 290th to my house. If I'm not reimbursed for that, I can live with that. And the feed truck's just got to come. You can pass all the resolutions, you can threaten me all you want to. We're going to have to get that feed there daily. It's how the system works. They're not all my trucks. It's not all my road. We employ hundreds of people through my operation, throughout the entire state. I don't know how much more. There was a little misunderstanding the other morning. I called Jesse and said, well, we had enough rain, it's muddy. If you've got a project planned out here, which I knew it didn't rain here in Marion. Well, he misunderstood. Maybe I wanted them to come out. I get home, the motor grader's dragging mud across my new rock. Well, I try to stay calm because the rains we've got will produce hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of feed. So I can't fault the rain that we've had the last 10 days or the last 4 or 5 weeks. There is no subsoil moisture. We will grow absolutely nothing, and me without feed puts me out of business. The other thing in that picture is one of the station wagons, and I did win the Marion County Demo Derby after 23 years of trying in 1991. Giving back. Gary Allavine died right in front of the feed, what do you call it, Countryside Feeds. My wife was maybe 50 to 100 yards behind him and witnessed that morning. She is a Willard Het's daughter. I gave her $500 cash for her kids' future employment and an entire beef process. Just gave it to her. I've got, didn't bring my pie plate. I've got one coconut cream pie at a deal just last year at the Birdie Bunch, helping Pam with some health issues. I made one coconut cream pie bring $1,275. Randy's granddaughter got a check from me, I think just for $100, but it goes back to when my trailer house burnt down or had issues. There was one in Florence a couple years ago. I don't know them people, but they were burning trash and burnt the neighbor's house. I gave them $500. Even through MCEDC, we tried to see in the family bakery benefit. Said, well, what could I do? Even as a board, on the board of MCCD. Well, I run into opposition. We can't do this. We can't do that. So I personally gave them $200. If 99 more people give that business $200, they have the $20,000 they need to fix their air conditioner and the roof issue and stay in business. So I mean, I don't have a problem with this. I mean, I was helped once when I was struggling. I've been broke, beyond broke, where I've lived on a loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter, and jelly for a week or two between paychecks. But what I won't accept is being the Hitler, Castro, Omar Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or North Korea rocket men of northern Marion County. I think my intentions are good. They're heartfelt. Here's Gary Alvin's thank you. The pie, Marion County EMS. There's 2 semi-loads of hay that went to Texas and Anderson Creek Fire just 2 years ago. Can't read it, but the one thing says that they will pay it back. I guess it's in the main thing. Somebody went to a lot of trouble to make this and send it to everybody that contributed to that. I wish I had that hay back today. But that's not the point. I hope they pay it forward, and I think they will. Our oil field motto, which I spent 14 years in the oil field, on true oil field trash from when I was younger. 1982, at the age of 23, we took a brand new, over $1 million drilling rig out of Cascade Oil Company in El Dorado and ran it. At times had under 15 employees underneath the age of 23. All this equipment I've run. Randy Crawford couldn't even find fault in my abilities. I've been asked if I ever wanted a job for the county. I don't even have to fill the application out. I just have to X the signature. I don't even sign it. But the motto of the oil field, there ain't no can't maybes. There's some there can be a can't maybe, but there ain't no such thing as can't. I've taken them drilling rigs and tied dozers to them and pulled them up hills and through the mud because we ran 24/7, 365. So I get impatient sometimes with government, and I know how it works. Going back to the rock, I took some rock on that road. They said, well, they're sending the truck up to Rocket, is what I was told. Well, they hauled 2 loads. It was 5 weeks ago. I come back the next morning and saw, well, the truck's fixed. He pulls in the quarry, loads out of the same pile I do, and he goes west. So I get my truck out and I haul some more. I come back just last week, or 10 days ago, I had this last rain. Well, I put a little Band-Aid on it. I'm thinking, well, it took us 6 hours to wash all the equipment the other day after we were hogged through the mud. So I hauled some more on. My equipment stays clean. Don't have to wash it. I had 2 skid loaders full of the buckets of mud out front under my semis, and pickups and our feed trucks. Not saying that they won't get dirty regardless. But even the companies that come, we average 4 or 5 loads of feed a day. I don't know what it costs to wash a semi truck commercially. I mean, every week they come back, they're clean after they get them dirty. So I mean, we're also called, I guess it's good if you own a car wash or a truck wash. something I just asked Jesse, I said, well, could we use the better rock at some point? We'll fill silo, I'll keep it patched. Let's not put a lot of rock on it till after we've chopped feed and hauled manure off the farm. Is that good, bad? Well, we talk about stockpiles. Well, I've got a nice spot, what I call the imaginary house. Has a spot that you could pile 500 or 600 ton in with no problem. It'd be a mile away from it. It's just an offer. If you're thinking I'm abusing the system or the county subsidizing my business, I guess you can think that. I don't think it's that way. If I need to pay for this rock, and that's fine, I guess. Wind farm paid for some of the hauling, I guess, on 290th. That was a mess there a while back. You know, they worked on Cedar Street or road rebuild. JL hauled that rock. So somebody else even paid some of the hauling. So maybe I'm not even entitled to any of the hauling. And I guess I was going to make it easy on you and buy you a thank you card so you could sign it, write something nice on it so I can hang it on my wall. I guess I'll just if you feel like it, you can send me one. Otherwise, I don't know how we move forward in a positive manner and me stay happy about life. I just hope I've made my point.
Are you finished, Mike? I don't
think
interrupt
so.
you. If you have more to say, continue.
I verbally say thank you.
Thank
I
you.
have told you that before. We definitely have a miscommunication problem. The first time the rain came, I believe you had called Diane.
Yes.
I asked her to come out and check the road out.
Checked the road out, and you kind of talked about putting rock down. I never did receive a call from you. I mean, we had talked earlier in the week, and I was actually the one informing you that we got to get a truck out there and get some rock on 280. Because not just you, I had plenty of other people complaining about that. We had not got to it by the rain hit. Once I found out by Diane, I had a truck hauling that way. There was an issue about where I can get rock from, and I explained that to the commission that day or the following week. I wanted to get it from Lincolnville. I was told something different. I went through the proper chain of command, and Mike went a different way, and he got. And I'm not blaming Mike for that, but I'll know better for future reference for me. Second time around, I found out he was doing it again. He didn't quite tell. We did. With all the complaints that came in at that time, we went on a long dry spell. And when all them phone calls came flooding in, I'm like, you know what? Mike's doing it. I could have used my guy somewhere else. And after I heard how many loads he does, the damage was done, whether he got permission or not. The damage was done, and yes, did he help us at that time of need? Of course he did. And that's why I say thank you.
Your thank you is all I need at this point. I mean,
But I'm just saying, I sent my truck somewhere else since the bad stuff was hit at that time, and I sent my truck somewhere else. I have not been back, and since then he's done some more. Just this week we had a little miscommunication. It's probably more miscommunication on my end. Maybe he didn't explain it well enough to me, but there was a problem that happened this week. I think it's healed up fairly nice of what had happened, but it happened, and so damage is done. I think it's fixed, but the system that has created with people blading roads other than county, it was broke to begin with, and it's broke now. When I don't know, I hate to send my blade men out towards Mike Benecke's area and do them roads when I don't know when a certain road is bladed, if it's been bladed, how long ago it was bladed, whether he did it right or wrong. I have not seen necessarily bad blading in his procedures. but I don't know when he does it. And that was part of some of the miscommunication earlier this week. And I think,
I'd take part of the blame.
and Mike heard me vent pretty loudly this week. So I'm just saying, there's a broke system, and I told him, it's broke, there's gotta be a fix here. And
And we gotta move forward.
yes, so, am I in favor of him just going and grabbing the truck and hauling off? No. It helped us out, so I'm trying to not be, it helped us out at a time of need, but at the same time, if everyone was doing that, since this has happened, I have had multiple calls about, well, hey, I did something little in this ditch, or hey, I did this and I did that. Can I come to commission and ask for a reimbursement? You're one thing, you may be thinking you're helping, but you're putting a lot more crap on me.
And I know
Whether
at the wind farm, you're about overwhelmed.
Well, that's part of my job, and I'm willing to accept that. I'm just saying, whether you think you're helping or not, it's putting me in a bind, it's putting these three commissioners in a bind. And me personally, I've never called you it. I have not heard it in these rooms from these three commissioners about Castro, Saddam Hussein. I've never heard that. And I've never heard that out of their three mouths. So I wanted to make that clear. I've never said that. I know you try to help. Stockpiling in one of your yards, the thing that scares me the most is you have equipment to be able to go do that. And I'm not saying I don't trust you, but at times I've got to be careful where I put stockpiles.
It's the
Perception of it.
Correct.
You have the equipment to haul rock, you have equipment to load rock, you have the equipment to blade rock. That doesn't sound like a great idea to me. And I know other people have offered areas, but I've got to be careful because I'm worried about the lots that we have someone coming in on a weekend, grabbing a loader bucket real quick and leaving. I don't know how you control it unless you put gates and fence up. But I'm just saying, there's things that you do to try to help, but I don't think you realize the damage you are doing at the same time of helping. And
discussed it this week.
so,
So very.
I'm done, I'm sorry.
Thank you, that's fine, thank you. So I will also say, when you brought up the first situation when you called me Mike, not only did we have that little brief conversation, you asked me specifically if you can go get rock. And
Asked if you would pay for the rock.
And I specifically told you no. I said, do not do that, no. And I also told you there's a procedure, and that is to call Jesse. And you said Jesse won't answer the phone. So I even went above and beyond, and I said, I will do that for you. I will call Jesse for you. If your road needs rock, we'll follow the procedure. I will call Jesse, have him come look at your road. If you need rock, the county will take care of it. Don't do it, Mike. I said it multiple times. And that was the first time, and that's when Jesse then later in the afternoon called me because he had trucks out there. But you were already in the process of doing it yourself, even though I was very clear, no.
I had to get the feed there that day, that's all it was.
And Mike, there is a fix to this. There is a fix. And the fix is very simple. You need to abide by the rules. Now, we paid you that one time in January, your $770 reimbursement. We made it very clear at that time, no more.
But I've been here asking for money this time.
Isn't that what you're doing right now?
You have not come out and said it, but
I just
Isn't
wanted
that
to
what
thank
you're
you
doing
for
right
it.
now? You're not asking for any money?
I'd like a thank you card for $7,400 of the rock on the county road after today.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to say I misunderstood. I thought you were here asking for reimbursement, but you're saying you're not.
I'm just, it's in the folder
That's
here.
a
I
yes
put it
or a no
together.
question. Are you wanting reimbursement or not?
I just don't want to be made out to be this badass in northern Marion County.
Well, then you need to start following the same rules everybody else does. You need to start abiding by the same. I was talking to Jesse this morning. I've got people very unhappy too, and they're not going out on county roads and doing what they need to self-serve their businesses. They're not doing that. They wait their turn, they ride on the sloppy roads, They do what they have to do to get their cattle taken care of. They don't like it no more than you do, no more than I do, but they're not going out and doing what you do.
Well, nobody has the same facility I do, and the feed becomes daily.
Well,
They gotta
They-
get there. I gotta feed.
I think a lot of people have close to the same facility, they just have a different operational way of running their business, perhaps. Because I see some awful big feedlots, other places, that go out dollar for dollar, count for count, I don't know. But I'm just saying, you need to follow the rules, would be my thing. We need to, that's my thing, we need to follow the rules. But if you put that rock on the county road and all you wanted a thank you card, I'll have one here for you next week and we'll move on,
That work.
okay? You
Thank
have a
you.
good day and enjoy the rain.
Well, it should rain about $200,000 of feed, but we'll need some more.
I heard you got a little more rain up there in Burdick than we did anyway. I heard,
I deserve it.
because we didn't get even an inch. And that, on that
70
biggest
hours
rain.
last Friday. See what my grandpa gave me when all we used to get was Mary Kay because my aunt sold Mary Kay.
So that's where it all started from, huh? That's kind of cute. Did he make it himself?
Yeah, he bought it at Oktoberfest. This is what, even though we were dirt poor, the wife bought me that.
That's a very nice picture.
Back in life, it's simple.
It's not today. Thank you for what you do, but I think Jesse probably, his biggest point was, we got the communications, and that's what we're on, communications.
Back to what he was even talking earlier, when he was asked about what will fix it, it'll take more time. I agree with that. Go from there. Hope you have fun with his budget. Hey, Jess.
Thanks,
Have a
Mike.
good one, Mike.
See y'all.
Jesse, also, I wrote down, and I think I'm just gonna ask you one more question while you said that, and I didn't ask you when we was in Road and Bridge there, was a person right across the big feedlot down southwest of Peabody. He called in for rock, and then he said he hadn't got it, and it's one of the supervisors, not you, said we was on the list. My question to you is when people do call in as of right now, what do you expect to get rock to them? I mean, what is your time frame due to out of money, due to road construction otherwise? What's a fair time frame that people should maybe expect? 2 weeks?
This time of year, with only having one truck kind of going, 2 trucks going with rock because of asphalt projects going on, 2 to 4 weeks. If it's a simple, a lot of people are being very pleasant and calling in for 1 load or 2, spotting in 2 loads. We try to knock them out as quick as possible. If we can get at least that off our tickler system, the better, showing that we have done. When it's a whole mile, it's a little bit of a long way during this time period. Because right now, the past few weeks, I've been going 2 trucks only, and some days just 1. With the other projects, we got
spot hit.
Just spot hit, or hauling sand. Yep.
So how does that affect your tickler system? When you have your system and people call and you're trying to knock them out, according to, and then somebody calls and wants you to come out now. They go,
Kind of try to go by the pecking order, but
okay,
when you're getting 30 calls in one day after a rain, it doesn't matter. No matter what request comes in, one of us goes and checks the road. No matter what, because someone could say it's bad, and we found numerous times where, whoa, I got way worse over here. Sorry.
sure.
They hate hearing that, but trying to be fair, going down the list.
Good enough.
So,
I think you have to do that because, everybody has a different expectation.
Yes.
correct.
What
And
I
they
think,
may
what
or
I
may
think
not
is a bad
understand.
road may not be.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. Anybody else in the public have anything they'd like to say or add, or? Any subject matter? If not, we're gonna enter into executive session with Tina.
I only need 5 minutes, and it's for performance.
Okay, so I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss personnel matters of non-elected official personnel for performance, for employee performance.
And I appreciate you allowing me to do this. As I've called all three of you individually, I have some things coming up next week and possibly not here for the next two.
I need a copy for Scott, if you.
That's what I-
Yeah.
Do I give these to Ms.
Sure, go
Being
ahead.
presentation?
No, go ahead.
You're trying.
That's all I have. I guess I don't have to.
I can get you one if you need a pencil. I've got plenty.
Okay, a pencil would be nice.
I actually have an
Probably
extra
want
one.
Oh,
He's
great,
here
thank
with
you.
me if you want to use that.
to- Okay.
Okay.
Tina will be right back if you want to go
Yeah.
over Tina. I'm excited that you got those trucks at that price. Did you
I
said they were
countered.
20,000, oh, you did
I
count?
countered them down to 20.
'Cause they
One
were
was 21.5 and one was 21, so I
Hey,
just,
everything helps. It all adds to,
Yeah.
to helping, I'm sorry.
That means build a holder for the snow plow, or the snow box.
spreaders, you know, right now, build a holder for them.
Yeah. So they can load them in that. Yeah.
They're both low-sided trucks.
All three, yeah, all three of them are kind of lower sided, bed sided trucks.
So the estimate is like $15,000 for rock for 1 mile,
Yes, as far as the road rebuild, yes.
and that's.
And that's kind of me trying to go a little higher.
Did you say about 4 inches? Or what you
Well,
said?
what I was saying was between 800 to 1,000 ton of base rock per mile, and also 400 to 600 ton of top rock per mile.
Okay.
Okay, road and bridge, contractual commodities and capital outlay, don't have much changes there. Contractual, as you'll see on the bottom, consists of kind of your engineering services, insurance, utilities, and connecting links throughout the year. What comes also out of contractual, every year we have to have the fracture critical inspections done on our bridges. So we've knocked the really high priced ones out just recently, so got another high priced one there yet, but hopefully here in the future we can get that out.
May I question this one
Yes.
thing on connecting the links? You have 3,000,
No, there is no price.
or what is that then?
The prices are for your fractured criticals.
Bridge numbers, that's bridge numbers right there.
5,500.
Oh, I see, okay,
Bridge
because it
numbers.
says connecting links.
Well, this is for your, what comes out of contractual.
Oh, I
These
see,
are the
okay, that's
items
your,
we
that's
don't
your
really,
itemized,
which
okay.
kind of comes,
All right, I'm sorry.
just try to cover Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, commodities, capital outlay. I don't see any big office supplies needing to be purchased. I kind of load that, so.
You know, we've talked about the connecting links and had public input on that. Is that something we need to look at a little closer to see if, you know, I know we try to maintain those.
We try to help, yes.
But, you know, we've got a very old policy from many years ago when it came to connecting links.
I actually have a new map of highlighted areas of each city in this downstairs. It kind of shows you what I'm looking at when we're chip sealing or blade patching, if we can go straight through the main route of the town.
Right.
If we're going through there anyways.
Yeah, I know we're talking about this one out here.
Yeah, and then, you know, I've talked with the city here. I'm getting some figures for them for next year just to at least purchase the material for, but 3 I'd also said last week.
It'd be nice to be able to work with the communities as much as we could to
Definitely
to
trying to
keep
do
those connecting links in as good a shape as our regular
Yes.
blacktop roads.
And I, when I brought up connecting links here, I was thinking, when I seen this, what I thought was $10,000, I'm sorry.
You're just going straight across.
Yeah, I was. And so anyway, I remember somewhere along the line this last year, and I have it, but I know Roger had worked up
Correct, he was in
estimates.
here.
Yes, and it's substantial compared to what we actually pay or
Correct.
contribute. And I know if we don't get the work done, then usually the process would be for us to pay them so that they can do it. And we have not been up to that bar as to what is, now I'm not saying they're right, I'm just saying,
Correct.
compared to what he presented, we are way behind
But
on that.
he did not present everything that's been done for, just for the city of Marion either, so I'm just
Okay,
saying.
and that's why I said I'm
that's-
not sure.
Right, there's been other things done too, and so.
Yeah.
But I think we need to probably communicate with them and find out so we can get a proper amount. But anyway, I don't want to hold you up on that.
No,
It's
that's right.
kind of a
Yeah,
thought.
I know sometimes with this connecting links, we're not comparing apples to oranges, because maybe we chip sealed Main Street for somebody, especially the small town,
Yes.
Yes, we have.
so that needs to be taken into account.
But I think each town is separate on
Yes.
the connecting links.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so, yeah, so what Marion was presenting, he was only presenting for Marion.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Yeah, every
that's what I was
community's
talking
separate.
about. Okay, go ahead.
Next page, road and bridge blacktop. Every year, the Tampa Road, the West Tampa Road, we have that payment of $232,743. Last payment will be in 2020 on that. Blacktop projects, $1 million, and commodities, $950. Now, the commodities, if you look at the bottom left, consist of your blade patch oil, chip seal oil, hand patch, your Buildex, striping, and also a cold mix. A lot of that's out of the sales tax. But as far as like, this is where I'm a little bit confused. The blacktop project and then the commodities. Is this blacktop project, if I go and pick up like an asphalt stretch, you know, because that's why I kind of put 290th down there. That's an issue of it needing an overlay or a rebuild one of these days. And it's definitely, that whole long stretch is going to be way more than $1 million. But I have several commodities now that, you know, something, we went through this winter of salt and sand. I know right now we've already talked sand, but that's where I had thrown in something that would be, I guess, considered under blacktop projects is salt in the bunker. At least starting out with one bunker to store sand in. And, well, eventually a wash bay. I don't know where we'd have a wash bay, but then also looking at overlay projects. So I don't, obviously if we wanted to do more, the budget would have to go up there, but I didn't put it there. We put it down at the bottom so that way we can see what's coming up in the future, you know. the winter, we all know what the winter was like about these salting and sanding roads. And I kept my figures from this winter of at least one bunker and 11,000 tons of salt, what that cost us. If you have 3, 4, 5 storms, I don't think that 11,000 is going to get you very far, that 11,000 tons. So it may get you through 4 storms, ice storms. Usually you don't see that many all the time, but so anyways, next year's chip seal, I have 49.5 miles planned for next year already. On the following sheet, we'll show you the miles I will be chip sealing.
Going back, just, you're talking about the 2-inch overlay on 290, if that's taken into account that we chip seal it this year.
Correct, yes. Yeah. So I really don't see how we'll have the funds for doing something like that, but I just put it down for something for us to think about, because it is a road with subgrade issues.
Sure.
Where we've been talking about maybe concrete stabilization and then throwing asphalt, but that is so much money, you know.
I would sometimes like that, just on a mile, if you could push a pencil and show me what the difference would be as it is now and what it would be extra. I mean, I could go back and check 330.
Well, I might be able to provide that with you for the quotes I'm getting.
It would be nice to see what the difference is,
Yeah.
to see what,
Isn't that pretty standard per mile, concrete stabilization? Well, maybe
Yeah,
it's not.
I mean, the way I've talked to a lot of people, read up on a lot of things. I'm really getting to understand, you know, the most common most of these companies go with is a 5% concrete on this stuff, 12 inches thick, 26 foot wide, because they're trying to stabilize the shoulders as well past the asphalt. So that way your shoulders don't just break off. So I'm really getting to understand how most of these companies are generally doing their roads, as well as micro-cracking. So right now I got a quote, you know, I got 2 different line items, 4% concrete mix or 5% concrete mix. Now the Roxbury was 6% mix, but that was to get the bids evened up with 3 inches of asphalt on top of that. So
how are the workers? I know when we did 330th here last year, people were starving for work, so we got a pretty good buy. Are we still pretty much in that mode, or
right
is it
now
on the rise?
KDOT don't have many projects, so that's why I've been trying to attack whatever we can with projects like that. That's why Nighthawk's on, because Nighthawk was a big issue for me this year, just because APAC is 4 miles away with a asphalt plant. KDOT's don't have any work, so all these companies are looking for work, and which brings down that asphalt price.
I'm just wondering, would it be wise, and I know this is a crunch, but if we knew some of the big roads we were going to be doing to try to enter into contracts with them while they're starving now, you know? Because just like when you do propane, you contract propane for 2 years or 3 years, and if the price goes up, you're safe. And I don't know how far out they would do that, but.
See, they don't know, I don't know if they would quite do that because they have no clue what oil's gonna do each year. With it kinda, I think, climbing right now,
Yeah.
you know. I know I got some quotes on Nighthawk, which is some of the cheapest asphalt. It's even cheaper than Roxbury. But that's also because we got an asphalt plant 4 miles from Nighthawk.
Location, yeah.
One thing
know.
you do have to be careful about, and Scott will probably tell you this, that'd be a good question when Scott's here. Because of budget and cash law, you cannot necessarily, you're limited on being able to enter a contract or agreement unless you have all the money there at the time you enter that agreement. So,
And we might consider that in our budget. You
But
have some of those on here.
If Nighthawk was to get done this year, would you overlay it next year, chip seal it next year?
Well, no, I'm hoping this year is the full mill deal.
Yeah, but I see you got it on.
Well, I would knock that off, yes.
Okay, okay.
I would not
That's
chip
fine.
seal it next year,
Okay.
which a lot of people advise me to, I would not,
Okay.
so. Any questions on that? Can't wait for 2020. Get done paying on Tampa.
Yeah, that frees up some cash, doesn't it?
Speaking of Tampa, do you have anything in this for that Tampa road to fill in those cracks?
Well, that's what I told you that I want to try to crack seal on that. You guys, We contracted that out on Sunflower, and you guys said you'd still like for us to try our crack seal machine, and that's the road I want to hit.
Okay.
This year.
Is there enough there on that, is there enough cracks on that road to take a quick look at it? And
Oh.
so this is from Tampa to 15, right?
Yes.
I would entertain, if we're trying to get a machine going, we're spending a lot of time with that. Right now it's a busy time of the year, I don't know.
I wouldn't be able to hit the cracks until fall or winter this year.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying though, would it be best to take a look at this company that just did it?
They actually came in, the bid came in for $32,000. We just paid them $29,000 and $100 and some for that crack seal job, so they actually came in under.
I'm just wondering if they could come back and slip in and do it.
They've been trying to, but
No,
I
I
just,
meant slip in and do that.
I know they've been wanting to go up there and crack seal. That
Oh.
company that did this,
Okay.
because I've showed them cracks.
Okay.
They want to, but you
That's
guys
up-
told me,
It'd be up to the commissioners then to.
I just didn't
Exactly.
present it to
You
you
won't be
guys.
able to free anybody up to do that till this fall.
Correct, and that's when your cracks are the biggest and the widest.
Oh, in the fall. So
When
that's
it's
the
cooler temperatures.
prime time to do it then.
Spring and fall is the time to do it, is when you have the biggest gap.
Oh, spring and fall.
Yeah, any time cooler temperatures, because, yeah, it expands the heat will
Being we didn't have any spring this year.
shrink it, yeah, so.
Correct. I've just considered, I mean, I'd really considered it, depends on how busy the rest of the winter, summer gets for you, but.
I did not realize how many cracks actually, I knew there was a lot
Right,
of cracks, but
that's
that
what
was
I
amazing.
agreed.
Yeah, there's
How quick they
there
knocked that out, so.
was a lot of filling.
Which is great, because I'm chip sealing that next year, that is perfect timing to get that
Yeah.
crack sealed.
Good.
Okay. Oh, let's see, coming up to rock. Gravel road projects, that's where I've been, the 200,000, is 15 to 20 miles of rock road rebuild. That's the full rebuild. Doing everything we possibly can. Now,
When you call a full project, you're talking about culverts, everything.
yes,
Done.
yes, culvert, I mean, if we're there, we might as well knock it all out, so. As I said earlier, I'm really nervous about this year. I'm low on rock. I pulled the reins back. I'm glad asphalt stuff is starting up, just due to the fact of how much with these rain. We went almost 12 months without rain. That hurts us just as bad as having a whole bunch of long periods of slow rains. And with all the calls flooding us in, we have went through the rock quick. And with us doing budget this soon, it's hard for me to tell how long this new rock is lasting compared to what we've always used out of Florence. You know what I'm saying? I haven't had a good feel of how many,
It's
sometimes.
supposed to be a little harder, isn't it?
Yes, correct. It's supposed to be, yes. And I just too soon to tell right now how long that's lasting. So I have requested more there. The only thing is I'm half tempted to just keep the gravel project rebuilds at 200,000 just because with everything that goes on, I don't know if I can even do much more than 15 to 20 miles a year getting it all done of the full rebuild. We just,
Based on your crew and equipment.
Yes.
That kind of just dictated what you can get done.
correct. So, but the money's there. I need, I'm trying my best to try to use that and try to show progress in this county. So that page kind of speaks for itself.
I didn't look on the percentage, where you set that on your percentage of total rock and so far.
I'm, I have the end of April's, and I am at 40%.
40?
40%, and I'm still getting Waverly rock coming in, so those bills are coming in.
Okay.
So we're not even through the 6th month, and
Is that the real hard?
it's supposed to be harder.
That's the stuff we put on fairly thin, isn't it?
Well, yes and no, kind of depends on the situation, but if it's kind of needing a base issue, I'm not just laying down that stuff. I'm kind of saving that for top rock, that way it stays there. So, yeah, I'm still kind of going to getting some bigger stuff for if I'm having a real base issue. So, okay. Any other questions there? This is one I had for Scott or Tina, maybe they can help. This road and bridge construction commodities, or the bridge construction commodities. At the bottom, you'll see it's for kind of our state projects, our federal fund we've used for the 80-20 splits. We've done 2 bridges out of that. We will be using this year some more money out of that for that Bridge 40 on the county line. What I was going to ask, there's going to be money left there. Can this money also be used for purchasing of culverts? Is what one of my questions is going to be. Because I see 90,000 coming out of that, and then that's done. I really do. I have no. The reason I ask is because I have no state projects or grants or accepted for anything for 2019. So that's why you don't see anything at the bottom, because I was denied some of those federal fund bridge replacements for 2019. So didn't know if this was gonna, I didn't know if you take away a little bit or take away the whole thing, or just keep it if I could use it towards culverts.
Where you at, A1?
I am, page 101,
Oh,
right.
Okay, I'm here, okay.
So it's at 220,000. Like I said, we're not gonna use even half that this year, or possibly right at half for that bridge, so.
How about, you just brought to us another company that come through and talked about building a bridge.
Yes. And that's coming up on my next sheet
Oh,
or two.
okay. Well, I'm wondering if
And yeah, bridges or culverts, yes, that's kind of what I'm asking. And I don't know if that's something.
On this, I've got a note to find out some more on this, because
Okay.
this particular fund, I don't know how it was established back when it was established
Right.
and what the requirements are, what we can use it for, but it's almost, I would almost think that maybe I'm just gonna find a little bit more information before.
Okay.
What you could do is, if you wanted to utilize, you could not levy there, you know, I mean, you could just keep whatever cash is left in the fund, not levy there, and then, but this is just a line item within a fund, so I think we can move it, you know, but I need to figure out why it was separated out in the first place, and Scott will have that, so.
Okay. Well, that page is kind of one of my big questions that I have. Road and bridge maintenance, shop, commodities, contractual. At the bottom, you'll see where it's kind of broke down of each of the line items. I'm not requesting to really make any changes, add or subtract there. As far as our road signage, I can't go any lower than that. I'm trying to do 2 bids per year, and then with the signs and the hardware that come out of that line item, that kind of puts it right there at the 60 mark. Fuel, Scott has questioned that before. You can see my actuals through 2015 till now. It does not come up to that 520, but 2014 it was at, the actual was 505. So if them fuel prices spike, I still feel I know we probably shouldn't have too many safety nets, but I think with road and bridge revolving always around fuel, everything we do involves fuel. I think we really got to keep it where it's at. I mean, we're kind of slowly seeing the fuel prices grow right now as it is. So I don't know where that's leading us to. Hopefully it drops again, but
I don't want to see it up there either, but it was ugly when it was.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I know that number, looking at your actuals and what we have budgeted, there's money there, but I'm just worried about that fuel spiking. And everything we do involves fuel, so if we cut that out, then we're struggling there. Any questions on that page?
You know, just, it seems like the retail fuel and crude are not tracking anymore. They just said the economy's better, so many people are traveling, so the price of gas has to go up.
Okay. Special bridge. We had a budget of $253,650 for the commodities. Right now, where I stand with that, this is where I'm getting my culverts from. I have enough in there this year left to pay my employees' wages. I've done spent, you know, with these rebuilds we're doing and all other requests and problems we're finding, my culvert budget just, and that's why I'd asked earlier on 2 pages before that 220 was one idea of maybe use 4 culverts, or as you can see on the bottom where I would really love to start a bridge replacement plan starting in 2019. And as I said last week, and you see at the bottom, I feel very confident, especially for next year, at $350,000 for 2 replacements a year, bridge replacements.
This is 19th budget we're working on.
Yes, I'm trying to plan for
You're wanting this 350, you're wanting for 2020?
19, 20, well, I'm wanting to have a bridge replacement plan every year, at least 2 bridges a year.
So this line item he has at 300,000, that's just for culverts.
That's
He's
just
saying-
for culverts.
He's basically saying he wants you to bump his budget 350,000 in
And
this
that's
fund.
why we put it down at the bottom, because, you know, I didn't know if I should have done it 2 pages back or the,
Okay.
you know.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, the commodities, you see what does come out of that, 253, 650, but then what I'm wanting to do for a bridge plan, replacement plan.
These would be bridges that would be put in by our crew?
No. As I said last week, the quotes I got from this company is 1 week, the week before they come in, we would tear the old bridge out.
Oh, yes, yes.
3 weeks, they would have it all constructed, and the following week, we would backfill.
Right.
And that's what we used to do in the Andy Kraus stages. We would tear the bridges out and then backfill when he was done constructing. This company says they can knock 30 to 60 footers out in 3 weeks' time. That's steel bridges, concrete decks with sheet piling for wing walls. Very similar to what Andy Kraus built, about 33 of them in this county, and they're holding up great. This company that I got quotes from, they've done a lot of them in Clay County that I still want to go up there and look at. They got a whole bunch of old ones that they did, as well as very new ones. That county is very happy with this company. They're a one-stop shop. They do the engineering, they do the hydraulics, the everything, permitting, and the construction. And that's why I feel very comfortable after seeing their prices that $350,000 would cover 2 bridges for 2019.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you. It's a total of 350,000.
Yes.
And so.
Well,
It would be
that-
a total of 650,000.
Well,
If you
700.
added.
Yeah, because I still need my
Plus-
culvert budget.
So this
Right,
300
right.
is what he wants for culverts. He's wanting you to add 350, and then you've got
Okay.
personnel on here that he hasn't put a number on.
Correct. Usually
So-
Ashley goes in there and gets
Okay,
personnel.
so I was asking the 2 per year. I didn't know if you were saying 350 apiece,
No.
2 per year?
Oh, sorry.
Or,
Yeah, so yeah, it's
okay.
total
Just
for
for
2,
that.
total for 2.
okay, okay.
And Diane, for you, much research that you do, if you went back and looked at an Andy Bridge, there's no information that's correct. That's exactly what we paid him just to put the bridge in. But sometimes we bought the steel the year before, and we never knew what that bridge cost exactly, because there was so much, buy some extra steel this year, and then, oh, we'll use it next year. And that, I just couldn't accept that.
And I remember you making
Okay.
comments like that,
I just-
different things
yeah.
over the time.
It's
And that's
a
why-
good bridge,
Yeah.
but, it's a good bridge, but I wanna know what it costs, so.
And that's, and you say that, and I have tried to check records of those, and they're so big, I found from 90,000 to 140,000
Yeah.
on those bridges, but I don't know what it was actually paying for. It's hard to really backtrack that.
That's what Randy was saying.
And then years later, I'm finding that we got a company here that does the whole dang thing.
And that's the difference, that was
And
just.
we'll know exactly how much a bridge costs
And we
us.
had some do the hydraulics on some of that other
Yeah.
bridges too, so, yeah.
So they have their own equipment, their own men,
Yep.
their own.
Yeah.
They're adding a team and they're adding another team, and that's why he's searching further south for business, so.
Okay.
Okay, and then, the equipment, the equipment page, I did not ask for more. We do have our payments on the next page under that. And then possibly equipment for next year, 2019 is the final page. Most mowers in backhoe are a huge item right now that we're having a lot of troubles with in the future. So next year, just in payments, well, I'm gonna have $180,006.78. And then, now, things that I put here, of course, is gonna go over that. It's just one of them, kind of go over, and then we can kind of pick and choose throughout the year of what we may need the most of, so.
Now, on those vehicles, can we purchase them under that state contract, like we talked about earlier? Because from what I've talked to other people, there was a substantial savings, especially on pickups.
You're not talking about that NJPA, are you?
Yes.
Okay. I think, I can check into that, see what vendors are on that list. I have that stuff downstairs to find out.
Basically, on vehicles was one, the state of Kansas.
So that means potentially going out of county too.
That's, yeah, I know.
But
I'm
the
just wondering
savings
if
are-
it's, if it's substantial.
At least having the information would probably be helpful
Yeah.
to be able to look.
I know for a fact if I were to go get bids right now on pickups from Hillsboro dealerships, and if I would go to Wichita dealerships, they're gonna blow the doors off of Hillsboro dealerships.
Yeah, and
I know that for a fact.
I'm always in favor of doing business locally, but, you're starting to
think
talk
they
about
drop-
some big bucks.
I think some of our dealerships probably help generate more taxes out of a lot of these businesses.
Yeah, I mean,
other
there's
businesses too,
added
so I'd like to
benefits.
support them,
Sure.
you know.
And I think too, now we reiterate what he's saying, I understand buying local, number one priority, but, there comes a breaking point to where then you have to start looking at the feasibility of doing that, because if they can't compete, you gotta do what you gotta do in some cases, not always, some cases, and so.
See, in a lot of counties, when they do bids with like vehicles, pickups and stuff, and cars, they have it inside their own, policies or whatever, where, yeah, we can go get bids from, but they have to include an extra 5%, which usually they will not bid because locals will get it no matter what. I don't quite understand all that, but it's something Marion County's never done, but that's definitely excluding out-of-town dealerships to get a cheaper vehicle.
And that's an interesting thing, because if you think about it, because we have a lot of contractors and stuff here in Marion, and the list goes on. And luckily, other counties hire them to do jobs in their counties as well.
Correct.
So by us occasionally buying something out of county and stuff, it's just the way the ball bounces. To do the best you can to the taxpayer. So, anyway, go ahead.
So, yeah, that's kind of an overview of it. I think there's, as far as some of the big item requests, the salt and the bunker, the spreaders, something to think about here in the future. And then also my biggest issue is the bridge replacement plan to really consider, as well as trying to help me out with culvert budget. Are my biggest ticket items.
And you're saying by transferring those funds, is that what you're saying, or just adding more to it?
Transferring and or adding, because we're uncertain about the 220. Right now that she's made a note to kind of check more into the 220 on the bridge construction commodities. For what we've been using that with next year, I will not have, unless an emergency grant comes up, then yeah, then we would have it, but hopefully that doesn't happen. And yeah, so I don't, whether transferring that and or adding more is kind of my biggest issues for bridge replacement. I have 27 bridges in this county that are considered that need to be replaced. And
So just off the top of your head, as a summary, where does this budget line up with 18? Are you up?
I'm probably about 1.1 million over of this year's by what I'm trying to request, 1 million, 1.1, somewhere in there. I was actually going to try to narrow that down before I came up here, but I got bothered downstairs.
Well, it's kind of a wish list, huh?
It is a
I
wish
think it's
list.
But I understand.
As far as my bridge replacement, that is my main priority. I know everyone wants good roads, but I don't need no one collapsing through a bridge either.
So grant money and stuff for bridges and everything, have you checked a lot of that, or assistance programs and stuff? Have you been looking
The
at
only
that?
thing I tried to apply for was the federal fund exchange grant program there that got denied. We got accepted 2 years in a row for 2017 and 18. I was not accepted for 2019. Have I looked for other grants? No, I have not. To answer your question. I don't know what's out there.
Right offhand, I don't know either, but I'd like to at least be able to look and see if you want to apply or something, because golly, there's resilience out there in grant if you know where they're at. I mean, I learned there's grant money out there for the roll-on building, I mean, but if you would know, if you know. But anyway. Yeah.
I appreciate your consideration on some of these items. Whatever you can do to help, I would appreciate it. As well as what you talked about in my road and bridge time slot, rock.
You're reading my mind, because I know I'm sitting here complaining about the roads, and so to combat my complaints, you have to have a solution, and that is provide more money to do what we need to do. I understand that.
And I try to stay within reason. I'm just, so.
Good luck with everything going through next week.
Okay, appreciate that.
I have one other question. On the equipment that you're looking to buy, I mean, I don't see, and I'm glad, but I'm not seeing anything like motor graders or anything like that this year.
Right now, motor graders, we feel very comfortable right now with motor graders. I know.
Dump truck for good, all that stuff. So just
For
these
most-
items right here.
Backhoe is
Backhoe.
my biggest issue, and I got two of them that are, one of them's really sad shape, and the other one probably needs to be replaced too, so. Yeah, my mowers are in horrible shape. One was so shot, we're finally robbing some parts just to keep the other one alive. And our boom mower only mows a little. It does not keep up with our pull behind mowers. Like, you can cover a lot more ground with our pull behind mowers. And like I said, I price things really high on this. I don't think a pull behind mower is going to come up. I'm thinking more around 25,000, but I'd rather be higher now.
Wings.
Just like what I call bat wings. It's pulled behind the tractor and it reaches out there.
Is that the price for one?
Yeah, that's the price for one. I really need
They're
two.
expensive, I don't know what they are, but they're expensive. I mean,
Yeah, the cat's meow is the Schultes out there. KDOT swears up and down by them. People are saying those are the indestructible pull behind mowers. They're like a lime green color out there. We have land prides, but we bought them used.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
And they have just fell
That's,
apart.
6-8 years
that's
ago.
something that takes a lot of wear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So it's been, Randy bought them, so it's been 5 years.
They, yeah, I mean,
4 or 5 years.
we're finally down. He bought 2 of them. We're down to 1. One of them's just a parts one now. We have no more parts left off of
I
it.
mean, we've got 2-3 dealers here in the county that sell them.
Yeah.
I don't know which one's the best.
No one around this area sells the Schultes, yeah, you know, but they say they're pretty awesome machines. I don't. I just need mowers. I'm not really.
So as we look at this, if push comes to shove on these pickup trucks, are they horrible, or would you be able
They're
to
great to be-
compromise on them, or?
Well, I mean, right now they're great. All 3 of them would be great to pass on down and get rid of some old junkers out of our fleet. High mileage junk. These the ones. There's 3 of them on. Well, all of them are starting to get higher mileage. I was thinking for myself, I need something a little bit more economical. Half ton. That 3/4 ton just needs to go to the guys at the shop to utilize.
How many miles do you have on that 3/4 ton?
I have 105,000. Now, Jesse Smith's, he has 240,000 on his truck, and James Olson has 210,000. And then Tom's shop truck, little parts service truck, is at 250, 240 or 250. And I would give you guys an updated list of mileage on these vehicles before but they're mechanically sound, and I think those would be very good right now to get passed on down and get rid of some old clunkers we have that probably don't need to be on the road anymore. And then get something a little bit, as much as I'm traveling, me a little bit more economical fuel and stuff. And my 2 supervisors, more of a working truck for them as well as the parts truck for Tom. He's not really requesting one right now, but I just threw it on there just in case. So there may be one that I would be willing to just do away with this year. I really feel, I was hoping, just watching budget this year, you never know, we might have room at the end of the year to try for this year on these pickups. You know what I'm saying? So, or even a mower at the end of this year. It's just too early to tell where I stand with buying these KDOT trucks and stuff like that, so.
Well, I think that's something else we tried cutting out mowing, and that brought about a bunch of complaints if you try cutting out mowing along blacktops and things and stuff. So I think mowers is a pretty important issue.
Yeah.
It's sure nice to see a nice mow road. I know we can't do all the county.
Do we have, I mean, do we use that boom that much, or do we use it mostly just on trees?
No, we usually mainly on grass, cutting grass.
Just that little old narrow thing?
Yeah. And then we put during the winters, we do put the tree cutting attachment deck on it to side trim smaller stuff, but it don't get very high, not like an excavator or something with it. We try not to do too big of a tree cutting project because it is a nicer unit, and having limbs drop down, you cut it down and drop down on the hood. I don't want any of that, so I'm very picky about that. We got something kind of nice, let's keep it nice. As far as getting into too big of tree cutting stuff, so.
For a project on your list, you might look at Peabody Street on the west side, the county side over there. That's where we side trimmed with the countryside.
Countryside.
They're now touching the blacktop again.
Yep, I seen that.
Yeah, that's their 4 or 5 years ago, I suppose. It was 4 or
Side
5 years.
trim with a buzz saw?
Yeah.
He side trimmed with the buzzsaw, yeah. We cut it clear back to the base. Now it's taken 4 or 5 years. We haven't done nothing to them since then, and they're getting back to the blacktop again. Their growth about
Yeah, this gentleman.
5 or 6 feet, or maybe 8, 10 foot.
What were you guys, 10,000 a year kind of estimating?
That's what we put out there. It was 10,000 a year for him to come in and do that.
He did 2 or 3 years
Yeah.
for us, and he has an old Atlas with this 2 big old booms, and he can get higher than the high lines
Yes.
with this big buzz saw.
Yeah.
He moves about 1 mile an hour, never stops, and keeps
Yeah.
going
I know
up and
for
down.
years and years, you drive around the county here in the winter time, and you'd run into somebody that'd be side trimming.
Yeah.
And 1 mile an hour don't sound fast, but I tell you what, It kept our two high loaders busy, trying to keep up with him with what it was all coming down. It was amazing.
Quite an operation.
Yes.
I don't think we lost. I think we got our money's worth.
Yeah, very nice clean cut too, you know that.
Oh, yeah, you
It's
get a lot of
not just-
complaints about
Yeah.
that shaggy looking stuff.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yes, I think
Okay,
so.
Jesse, that was good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have come to the end of the agenda. So, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion by, did you get all the words exactly that he said?
He said so moved.
Yes.
Can you
I
please?
will make a motion to adjourn the
Thank
meeting.
you, thank you.
And Randy has seconded that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So next on the agenda then is back to Jesse and budget. So we'll move on to that.
Can I take that seat for budget?
Yeah, because it's at the end of the meeting, I'll let you